Chapter 4462. Counting the time, ever since he left the three main planes of the starry sky, Yixian had entered the void fragment of the great desolate world from the spatial rift in the second universe's Shadow Devil star region, and then entered the primordial chaos void. It had been close to 10 years. During these 10 years, Yixian's power had skyrocketed at an unimaginable speed. Now, he had become a universe knight who had surpassed the 5 undying level. Furthermore, after activating the demon ape bloodline in his body, and fully activating the bloodline ability of 9 demon ape to the 9th form, his power level could even reach the level of a universe master. Other than that, Yixian had made many other great gains in less than 10 years. A power body that was nurtured in the most powerful star of the source nest. A devouring body that had been away for a long time, and its power had most likely grown to an extremely high level. Also, Green Cow, Old Pig, and the other subordinates he had taken in during this period of time, as well as the huge subordinate armies in the Source Nest headquarters, the Forbidden Land of Phoenix Blood, and the Forbidden Land of Rising Sun. Even the Shenong Strange Flame had evolved to the level of 9-colored flame during this period of time, reaching its peak power. Besides, Yixian had mastered the most perfect medicine refining technique, and he was able to refine the 9-colored godly medicine, which was considered a top-tier cultivation resource, even during the ancient universe. Also, the 7 beautiful cultivators of the ancient universe in Yuyan Luo had gathered, and all of them had the power of an emperor. Currently, they were in seclusion trying to break through to the level of a universe knight. All of this was accomplished by Yixian in less than 10 years. It could be said that the changes in 10 years were too great. It was as if the sea had turned into mulberry fields, and the world had turned upside down. However, although he had entered the Hongmeng void space and even found the Milky Way star sector where his mother planet was, many questions in his heart were still unanswered. The headless infant body went back to hibernation. During the few years since he had woken up last time, Yixian had tried to call him many times, but he still hadn't gotten a response. Without the headless infant's guidance and answers, Yixian could only rely on himself to explore everything. He was still brooding over the whereabouts of the Heaven's Legacy race. Although Yixian did not know the slightest detail, his intuition told him that the disappearance of the Heaven's Legacy race was related to the upcoming Great Era. Apart from that, what was the arrangement of the primeval Heaven's Eye, and what was the Netherworld Furnace, which had completely disappeared ever since they entered the primordial void? All of this weighed down on Yixian's heart, turning into a cloud of suspicion that grew heavier and heavier. These were all things that he needed to explore. However, it seemed that there was no starting point at all. Only the mysterious person who had brought a few descendants and followers to the 3 main planes of the starry skies, left behind the 2 bloodlines of the Mad Mosquito Emperor and Old Ghost Mosquito Butcher, and then left immediately. It was said that he was looking for a way to return to the mother planet. Now it seemed that there were some clues. The Mad Mosquito Emperor's true body had already entered a source hive star, wanting to see the primordial luck of this era. However, the location of Old Ghost Mosquito Butcher's true body was still unknown. According to Yixian's speculation, that old guy should be in the primordial void as well. If that was the case, then his current location was most likely within the Blood Mosquito Forbidden Land. Old Ghost Mosquito Butcher and the Mad Mosquito Emperor's true body's father generation, as well as the mysterious guests from the mother planet that they followed, were most likely all within the Blood Mosquito Forbidden Land. For this matter, Mosquito Beast Emperor Shueben had already gone to the Blood Mosquito Forbidden Land alone. Although it was a senior Forbidden Land with a Universe Supreme guarding it, it was still a world belonging to the ferocious mosquito race, after all, and the bloodline in Shueben's body had already reverted to its ancestral form. With the bloodline of the desolate ancient ferocious mosquito race, there should be no danger there. However, Yixian couldn't sit still. As long as his cultivation level reached the Universe Master level, he would be able to obtain the battle prowess of a Universe Supreme in advance when he activated the 9th transformation of the Demon Ape. At that time, the first thing he had to do was enter the Blood Mosquito Forbidden Area. As long as he could find the true body of Old Ghost Mosquito Butcher, or that mysterious elder from the mother planet, then many of the questions in his heart would be answered. A breakthrough of 7 minor levels. That's fast. As these thoughts flashed through his mind, Yixian could not help but sigh with emotion again. He was slightly absent-minded. However, in the end, he shook his head and shook off the messy thoughts in his mind. As he muttered to himself, he subconsciously clenched his fists, and an incomparably resolute light shot out of his eyes this time. He had only spent 7 days in seclusion to break through, which was not a long time. However, due to the moment of emotion and the thought of too many things, Yixian could not sit still. The sense of urgency grew stronger and stronger. Xiao! Standing up, Yixian shot out from the mouth of the farmer god cauldron, which was enshrouded in 9-colored fog. With a wave of his hand, he put the cauldron into his body. With a flash of his body, he rushed out of the atmosphere of the giant star under his feet, appearing outside the atmosphere universe void. Brother Berserk Ape, you really broke through? At this time, Yixian was already a 2-star knight. However, after activating the demon ape bloodline in his body and transforming into a 30-meter-tall space berserk ape, his strength skyrocketed by 1 level. Hence, what he showed now was a 3rd-level knight. As for Old Pig, he was released from the demon pig's 3rd transformation. He maintained his 30-meter-tall body, but he was only a 2nd-level knight. This made the old guy rather unconvinced. He stared at Yixian with his eyes wide open for a while before sighing in frustration. Forget it. It's only been 7 days, and you've already broken through a minor level. You're already a knight, and your cultivation speed is even faster. You're so abnormal. I won't compete with you to avoid hurting my self-esteem. Xiao. After that, Old Pig suddenly opened his mouth, and 8 human head-sized blood beads shot directly at Yixian. These were the blood beads he got from killing the 8 emperors in the Green Dome Forbidden Land. Even though he was already a universe knight, without the help of the Shun-known cauldron, he still couldn't condense the energy and blood of the 8 emperors into true ferocious beast blood essence. His current head size was already his limit. If he went any further, he wouldn't even be able to condense it to the size of a fist. Hence, he could only leave it to Yixian. Yixian didn't pay attention to this fellow's monstrous resentment. He lightly nodded his head and directly absorbed the 8 blood beads into his body. He then sent them into the Shun-known cauldron and began to condense the blood essence. Chapter 4463. For venerable blood essences, which means 4 universe knight-level space beasts. After hearing Yixian's words, the old pig spirit nodded repeatedly and excitedly continued. Don't worry, brother Violent Ape, there's definitely no problem. There are still many elementary-level forbidden areas around the Milky Way star field. Only 4 universe knight-level space beasts. As for the ferocious beasts, we only need to find 2 more targets. However, it is as you've said. We have to make the best use of our time to take care of the final 2 targets. Otherwise, as time passes, the situation will definitely change. Universe knights can't compare to emperors, said Luo Feng. They are already in the last 5 levels. If only 1 or 2 of them were killed, it wouldn't cause too serious of a consequence. The problem is, in the past year or so, you've already killed 6 universe knights, said Luo Feng. You still have to kill 4 more universe knights. This is not a small number. Don't even think about delaying it any longer. I'm afraid you'll attract the attention of some beings. But it's not completely impossible. Speaking of this, the old pig spirit paused for a moment. He lowered his head and thought for a while before continuing. There are 2 suitable primary starry sky forbidden areas nearby. One is on the left side of the Green Dome Forbidden Area, and the other is on the right side of the Green Dome Forbidden Area. The one to the left of Blue Sky Forbidden Land is called White Tiger Forbidden Land, and the one to the right is called Black Tortoise Forbidden Land. There are 2 universe knights in each of these 2 forbidden lands, said Luo Feng. As long as we can kill them, we'll be able to collect the 10 pieces of night blood essence we need to make the level 26 treasure pill, said Luo Feng. What's the cultivation level of this venerable level ferocious beast? Yixian nodded and asked casually. Hearing the names of these 2 primary forbidden lands, the strongest universe knights in each of them should be a white tiger and a black tortoise, right? Yes, but they're not pure-blooded. Like the subblood greedy wolf, they're subblood life forms. Old Pig curled his lips and said unhappily. Unlike me, I'm not a bastard like them. I'm a pure-blooded space porcupine. Yixian rolled his eyes and said casually, no matter how pure your bloodline is, you're still just a pig. Why are you looking down on pigs? In an instant, the old pig spirit was like a cat that had its tail stepped on. He jumped up and stared at Yixian with a pair of pig eyes. His long nose puffed as he howled, "Old pig, I want to duel with you." "Okay. Tell me about the two subblood white tigers and the subblood black tortoise." Yixian curled his lips and stared at him with disdain. "If we really fight, I'll make sure you become a dead pig in space with one punch." Old pig was serious. It seemed that his bloodline technique had reached the 9th transformation, and once it was used, he would have the power of a universe master. In fact, even if he didn't use his bloodline technique, his opponent was still a 2-star knight, while he was only at the 1-star level. No matter how they fought, he would be at a disadvantage. Thinking about this, old pig was speechless and stared at Yixian. Then he changed the topic. "That's right, the subblood white tiger and the subblood black tortoise are indeed the most powerful beings in the white tiger forbidden land and the black tortoise forbidden land respectively. The subblood white tiger is at the 7th level of the night realm, and besides him, there's another being at the 3rd level of the rattlesnake leopard. As for the subblood black tortoise, he's at the 8th level of the realm, just like the mixed-haired green Luan that was killed earlier. And besides him, the other knight in the black tortoise forbidden land is a 2-star space bug." After understanding the situation, Yixian nodded. "Let's go to the white tiger forbidden land first." "Howl!" The old pig spirit raised his head and let out a long howl. Without any hesitation, his figure flashed and he instantly shot towards the left side of the void. Yixian didn't say anything else. He followed closely behind him. After leaving the blue sky forbidden land, Yixian and Old Pig flew at the edge of the forbidden land on this side of the Milky Way star field. At their maximum speed, they arrived at the edge of the White Tiger forbidden land in about 10 days. Shio! Shio! 2 sharp sounds of breaking through the air rang out. Yixian and the Old Pig spirit didn't hesitate in the slightest. They didn't even conceal their cultivation auras as they directly transformed into 2 rays of light and charged out of the White Tiger forbidden area. "Ferocious ape porcupine, why did you suddenly come here?" Almost in the next moment, a low roar sounded, followed by the voice of a divine sense from a giant star on the left in front of them. A huge white tiger with a body of 10 million feet rushed out of the star's atmosphere. Its pure white fur had black and red stripes. This was indeed a subblood white-eyed tiger, and the energy it emitted was at the level of a universe knight. Level 7. At the same time, a slightly smaller ferocious beast star to the right also rushed out from a slightly smaller ferocious beast star. Its eyes flashed with a cold light, and its cultivation was also not bad. It was at the 3rd level of the realm, and was on par with Yixian, who was currently 30 meters tall. "Leave the white tiger to me, and I'll leave that rattletail leopard to you." Yixian didn't even respond to the question of the subblood white tiger. He turned around and casually assigned the opponent to Old Pig beside him. That casual attitude and tone made it seem like he was talking about a trivial matter. "Howl! You're courting death, ferocious ape." However, although his voice wasn't loud, it clearly reached the ears of the subblood white tiger and the rattletail leopard. The latter merely raised its head and roared, but the subblood white tiger, who was at level 7 of the realm, was instantly enraged. It was furious. At the same time that the voice of his divine sense resounded, he directly raised his right forelimb and slapped it towards Yixian. 9 transformations of demonic pig. 3rd transformation. With Old Pig's temperament, it was impossible for him to be courteous to such rude words. Without any hesitation, he roared and entered the 3rd transformation of 9 transformations of demonic pig. In the blink of an eye, Old Pig's body, which was only 30 feet tall, suddenly expanded. Within half a breath, he was already 30 feet tall. Compared to the 30 million feet of the subblood white tiger and the rattletail leopard, his 30,000 feet tall body was indeed insignificant. However, when the subblood white tiger raised its right forelimb and was about to slap out, it suddenly stopped in midair. Chapter 4464. Roar. With the 3rd transformation of Devil Ape, Pig Demon's power surged and reached the 5th level of the Venerable Realm. This made him excited as if he had just received a shot of adrenaline. He raised his head and roared. With a flash of his body, he dashed toward the rattlesnake leopard on the right side of the void. "What? You came here to kill? The subblood white tiger was astonished by Yi Shiwen's decisiveness. However, it was still confident in its strength as a 7th stage venerable. After being stunned for a while, he flew into a rage again. Even if you used an unknown powerful bloodline technique, you are only at the 5th level of the venerable realm. How dare you come to the White Tiger Forbidden Land and behave so atrociously? Who gave you the courage? Before he could finish his sentence, the answer had already arrived. Roar. 9 Transformation of Devil Ape. 8th Transformation. Pung. At this moment, Yi Xian's roar came from the mouth of the space-raging ape. As he spoke, a huge explosion was heard. In less than one breath, the space-raging ape's body had completely expanded. Its speed was so fast that it made people's hair stand on end. The power in its body was rolling like a roaring river. Endless ferocity surged from its limbs and bones. Unknowingly, an unimaginably majestic and terrifying aura gushed out from Bao Yuan's body, causing the space to tremble. This supreme pressure caused everyone's heart to tremble. In just half a breath, the space-raging ape's body, which was originally only about 30 meters tall, expanded at an extremely fast speed. In the blink of an eye, it had reached a height of 1 billion meters, which was equivalent to 6 million miles. It was bigger than a giant star. Furthermore, as his body expanded, the aura of cultivation that permeated from within his body also rose at the same time. He went from a 3rd-order venerable to a 2nd-order universe master. And this was because he had only activated the bloodline technique of the 9 transformation of Devil Ape to the 8th transformation. Otherwise, the space-raging ape would have the terrifying combat power of a 3rd-level universe master. Its body would have expanded by another 10 times, reaching a height of 60 million miles. The reason why he had only activated the bloodline technique to the 8th transformation, and not the ultimate 9th transformation, was to conceal his strength. After all, he had been killing universe knights for more than a year. If there were no accidents, the news would be leaked out very soon. He had gone. By then, many powerful beings would be paying attention to him, and he might even be schemed against. In this kind of situation, keeping a little of his strength and not leaking it would only be beneficial to Yi Xian and not harmful at all. Universe Master? This is impossible. The sudden scene scared the subblood white tiger so much that his legs turned to jelly. He was about to roar, but in the blink of an eye, his roar turned into a cry of surprise. On the other side, in the distant void to the right, the rattlesnake demonic leopard, whose expression had just changed due to the 5th-rank space porcupine charging towards it, let out a wail of fear at this moment. Its huge rattlesnake tail clamped down, and it actually directly gave up the battle, turned around and ran. Howl! Seeing this, the pig spirit was even more smug. He raised his head and roared. While chasing after the leopard spirit, he roared wantonly. Little cat, are you male or female? Don't you think it's embarrassing to see me scared like this? Stop right there. I promise I'll blow you up with one punch. At the same time, in the void on the left, the 7th-level subblood white tiger didn't hesitate at all. Its reaction was even faster than the rattle-tailed demonic leopard in the void on the right. In the blink of an eye, it activated the power in its body and disappeared from where it was. Half a breath later, when it reappeared, it was already in the distant void space 200 million miles away. In order to escape, the subblood white tiger used teleportation, and a casual teleportation could cover a distance of 200 million miles. It had to admit that its ability to escape was even better than that of the Green Luan. It was enough to show that its comprehension of the primordial chaos space law had reached a level 1. It was at a very high level. Even Yi Xian was surprised by this. With his power as a 2nd-level universe master, he could only teleport as far as 400 million miles away if he tried his best to teleport. An ordinary 1st-level universe master could only teleport as far as 200 million miles away. This white tiger was only a late-stage universe master, but its teleportation distance was comparable to that of a 1st-level universe master. It was really shocking. I didn't expect your comprehension of the primordial chaos space law to reach such a high level. If you can improve further, it'll be difficult to keep you here today. With a flash of coldness in his eyes, the space-violent ape disappeared in the blink of an eye. When it reappeared, it was even faster. It only took about a quarter of a breath. and the place where it reappeared was right next to the subblood white tiger, only a few million miles away. At that moment, the subblood white tiger was about to teleport a second time when it saw the space-violent ape appear so close to it. It was so scared that it trembled and almost fell to the void space. If that's all you've got, I suggest you don't embarrass yourself. After all, you can't escape death. Hong! Along with the disdainful and ridiculing voice, the raging starry sky ape's shoulders shook slightly in the next instant, and it had already blasted out a punch in the blink of an eye. A deafening roar came from the void space, and the nearby subblood white tiger howled in agony as its gigantic body exploded. Although it was a late-stage night, it was still as insignificant as an ant in the face of a universe master. It didn't even have a chance to react before it was blown apart by the punch. The next moment, the huge body of the subblood white tiger exploded into a cloud of bloody mist and spread out. Shio! After killing the enemy with one punch, the space-violent ape waved its hand, and a sharp sound broke through the air. A powerful, invisible force rolled out from the space-violent ape's body and covered an area of tens of millions of miles. It swept the bloody mist that had just spread out and sent it into the ape's body to condense the blood essence. Howl! You can't escape. Grandpa Pig doesn't have that much time to deal with you. Die now! On the other side, in the void to the right, the old pig spirit imitated Yi Xian and also teleported. His figure flashed and directly appeared in front of the fleeing rattletail devil leopard. Then, after a roar of excitement, Old Pig didn't hesitate at all. He raised his hoof and stomped on the head of the rattletail devil leopard. The latter's colossal body, which was millions of feet tall, instantly exploded with its head as the starting point in half a breath's time. Sigh. Chapter 4465. Shio. As the rattletail demonic leopard was killed, the boundless blood and chi from its body was condensed into a blood bead the size of a human head by the old pig spirit. It spun around and shot towards Yi Xian with a sharp piercing sound. With a wave of his hand, Yi Xian collected the blood bead and sent it into the Shun-known cauldron. He started to condense the blood bead with the blood bead he had obtained from killing the subblood white tiger. It was an easy battle, but he had obtained 2 precious blood beads of knights. At this point, the number of venerable blood essences in Yi Xian's hands had already reached 8. If he were to refine a level 26 treasure pill now, then according to his calculations, with the power of the divine Nong 9-colored flames, he would be able to produce at least 5 of them. Even the probability of making 6 level 26 treasure pills was more than 50%. However, that was not enough to satisfy Yi Xian. A level 26 treasure pill could allow a being at the pinnacle of the 9th level to become a universe master in a short time. It was the second of the last 5 realms, and it was extremely important. However, the main material required to make a level 26 treasure pill was the blood beads of the ferocious beasts that were condensed from the blood beads of the universe knights after their bodies exploded. This was the last of the 5 realms, and there were so few of them that it was terrifying. Even in the Hongmeng Void, there were not many of them. Yi Xian and Old Pig had taken advantage of the fact that all the Supreme Forbidden Lands were not vigilant and alert, which was why they had been able to collect 8 of them in such a short time. However, once the news of this spread, it would be difficult to do so again. The Universe Knights would either join forces or seek protection from the Universe Masters or Universe Knights. After all, it was not easy for anyone to get to where they were. Everyone had their own means and connections. Therefore, for Yi Xian, while he was still able to make a move, he had to silently gather more venerable blood essence and then condense it. Besides, he had told Old Pig that he would need 10 blood beads of ferocious beasts in order to make 2 level 26 pills. And in terms of time, it was about the right time to collect 2 more. News of this matter should spread. We have to hurry up with the last 2. I have a feeling that the news of this matter will be leaked out very soon. As these thoughts flashed through his mind, Yi Xian broke free from the 8th Devil Ape transformation and returned to his original height of 10 zhang. At the same time, he turned to look at Pig Spirit and said, "Loot the nests of the subblood white tiger and the rattlesnake panther, then leave immediately and head to the Black Tortoise Forbidden Land." The old Pig Spirit nodded. He didn't say anything. His figure flashed, and he directly turned around and rushed towards the nest of the rattle-tailed demonic leopard. Yi Xian was the same. He charged towards the largest star on the left side where the inferior blood white tiger had appeared. After entering the atmosphere, his powerful divine sense spread out, and after searching for a while, he waved his hand and took in all the cultivators that could enter his eyes. The refining resources were all swept into the undying world within his body. After doing all this, Yixian and Pig Spirit didn't hesitate at all. They immediately left the White Tiger Forbidden Land and headed straight for the Black Tortoise Forbidden Land, which was hundreds of billions of miles away. The most powerful being in the Black Tortoise Forbidden Land was a subblood black tortoise. His power was the same as the mixed-haired green Luan that Yixian had killed not long ago, which was level 8 of this realm. Aside from him, the other Universe Knight in Black Tortoise Forbidden Land was a level 2 space bug of this level. Without a doubt, in this hunting plan, Yixian and Pig Spirit were responsible for one opponent each, and they both attacked at the same time. With Pig Spirit's power, he wouldn't have been able to defeat the subblood black tortoise. Hence, he could only deal with the level 2 space bug, while Yixian was responsible for the level 8 subblood black tortoise. Although the two didn't discuss this matter, they had a tacit understanding and had already assigned each other their opponents. This time, even with their top speed, it still took them 16 days to reach the edge of the Black Tortoise Forbidden Land. This was the last time they attacked, so both Yixian and Pig Spirit didn't have any scruples. The only thought in their minds was to use the shortest time to kill the two prey in this beginner supreme Forbidden Land. Then they immediately turned around and didn't attack for a short period of time. Howl. 9 transformations of demonic pig. Third transformation. Pig Spirit roared and entered the third transformation of the 9 transformations of demonic pig, as soon as he entered the border of the Black Tortoise Forbidden Land. In the blink of an eye, Pig Spirit's body, which was originally only 30 meters tall, suddenly expanded. Within half a breath, he had reached a height of 30,000 meters. His cultivation had also increased by 3 levels, and the unique aura of a 5th stage venerable quickly spread out from his body. On the other side, Yixian did the same. He entered battle mode without even seeing his target. Howl. 9 transformations of demonic pig. 8th transformation. Pung. An earth-shattering roar came from the mouth of the violent ape of stars. As the voice sounded, a huge explosion sounded. In less than a breath of time, its body had completely expanded. The power in its body surged like a roaring river, surging out from its limbs and bones. Endless ferocious energy. Its body, which was originally only 30 meters tall, expanded to 6 million miles in the blink of an eye. At the same time, the aura emanating from his body rose from 3rd Order Venerable to 2nd Order Universe Master, a Level 5 Universe Knight Space Porcupine, and a Level 2 Universe Master Space Raging Ape. 2 such powerful beings rushed into the Black Tortoise Forbidden Land at the same time, and the vast and boundless beginner Supreme Forbidden Land fell into a dead silence. Within the numerous star beasts of the Forbidden Lands, countless beasts were as silent as cicadas in winter. They didn't dare to show their heads. Their bodies were lying on the ground within the star, trembling. Screech. Only in the deepest region of the Forbidden Land on the left was a sharp screech, which revealed a powerful force of a late-stage knight. Then, in that direction, the atmosphere of a huge star suddenly surged violently. A huge semicircular land with a radius of 10 million feet was thrown out of the star by some kind of terrifying force. With a terrifying force, it shot toward the back of the Black Tortoise Forbidden Land at a speed comparable to a meteor. When this scene entered the eyes of Yixian and the old Pig Spirit, they were instantly stunned. Chapter 4466. This 10 million meters long object, which looked like a piece of land that was thrown out of a star by someone in anger, was indeed the shell of the subblood black tortoise. This time, as soon as Yixian and the old Pig Spirit rushed into the Black Tortoise Forbidden area, the master had not shown up yet, but he had directly activated the bloodline power in his body and showed his terrifying strength. As soon as the oppressive aura spread out, it immediately alarmed the subblood black tortoise and the other space bug. The space bug at the 2nd level of the Venerable Realm did not dare to show up at all, but the subblood black tortoise had a plan to escape in an instant. Relying on the fact that his shell was hard enough, he decided to take a risk. He retracted his limbs, head and tail into the shell, and then activated the bloodline secret technique to disguise this huge shell as a star land with a radius of 10 million square meters. Even a universe master would not be able to find anything wrong with it when he used his divine sense to investigate. The subblood black tortoise was very confident about this, because this was one of his bloodline powers, and it was also a life-saving means of escape. Unfortunately, after Yixian used his divine sense to investigate, even though he didn't notice anything amiss, he was still able to guess what was going on after some thought. An 8th-level venerable actually did such a thing that makes people speechless. You really live up to your reputation as a coward. Boom! The next moment, the giant space violent ape, with a body of 6 million square meters, let out a disdainful and mocking voice. Then its shoulders shook slightly, and it teleported in the blink of an eye, blocking the path of the huge shell. Without saying anything, it directly hit the shell. Without saying a word, it threw a punch. Bang! A rumble that shook the heavens and the earth resounded. The fist of the starry sky violent ape directly smashed onto the enormous tortoise shell that was shooting over, causing it to abruptly stop in midair. However, to Yixian's surprise, although the huge shell that was disguised as a star land suddenly stopped in the void under the force of his punch, the expected explosion scene did not appear. It appeared. The subblood black tortoise's shell actually withstood the full force of the violent ape's punch. This was understandable. Even though the current space-raging ape had the combat power of a 2nd-level universe master, with the terrifying blood energy of Pang Da's 6,000-mile-long body, its combat power was comparable to that of a 3rd-level universe master. However, this subblood black tortoise was actually not weak. It was an 8th-level universe knight, and it only needed a small breakthrough to become a 9th-level universe knight, which was the so-called half-step universe master. Moreover, among the 10,000 races in the universe, the black tortoise race had the best defense, which was comparable to that of the void tortoise. And now, this subblood black tortoise had given up attacking with all its strength to activate all its power to launch a defense. Black tortoise and did not show its head. Under such circumstances, even space-raging ape, whose combat power was comparable to that of a 3rd-tier universe master, couldn't destroy his tortoise shell with a full-powered punch. It was completely reasonable. Violent ape, you're indeed very strong, but if I'm not mistaken, you seem to have let out a shocking roar when you rushed into the black tortoise forbidden land. At this moment, seeing that the space violent ape's full-force punch had failed to break its shell, the subblood black tortoise, who was hiding in its shell, finally felt relieved. You're only a 2nd-level universe master now. That's just the result of performing some kind of secret technique. Luo Feng's voice was transmitted from Tortoise's shell in no time. Since it's a bloodline technique, it can't last forever. Once your power drops, it'll be time for me to kill you. By the end of his sentence, there was no fear in the subblood black tortoise's voice. Instead, there was a hint of complacency and ferocity. He actually threatened Yixian. This was clearly a warning to him, telling him to be tactful and take advantage of the fact that his cultivation hadn't returned to normal to quickly leave. He didn't want to drag this out any longer and lose his life in the end. Such confidence stunned Yixian. Then his divine sense voice immediately sounded. You damn bastard, you're quite good at judging the situation. Just now, when you saw that the situation was not good, you immediately retreated into your bastard shell and ran away. Now that you have something to rely on, you immediately changed your attitude. As he spoke, the space violent ape flipped its right hand and took out the Shunnong medicinal pestle from its undying world. Of course, it was not in the form of a medicinal pestle, but in the form of a big-headed black stick. Holding the big-headed black rod in his right hand, Yixian's voice instantly became cold and stern. What a pity, the kind of reliance you have. It doesn't seem to be very reliable. Hong! The moment he finished his sentence, the big-headed black stick was lifted up by the space violent ape. With all its strength, it smashed down on the giant shell in front of it. The momentum of this attack was so great that even the space trembled because of the swing of the big-headed black stick. Although the subblood black tortoise could not see the scene outside, he had been observing with his spiritual sense. At this moment, when he saw this scene, a cold gasp could be heard from the giant shell. Facing the big-headed black stick, the subblood black tortoise's heart, which had just calmed down, jumped up to his throat in an instant. He cried out involuntarily. What treasure is this? How can it be so powerful? Hiss! Look at this aura. It's clearly a primordial treasure. Bang! Gotcha! Before he could finish his sentence, the big-headed black stick had already smashed into the tortoise's shell. An earth-shattering sound accompanied by an incomparably clear sound, like the sound of bones shattering, rang out. Looking down, he saw that the stick had smashed a huge hole in the center of the tortoise's shell, revealing an oily black head that was looking up at him with eyes filled with endless fear. Awoo! With a big hole in the giant shell, the subblood black tortoise immediately cried out in pain. He knew that there was no point in hiding anymore, and he might die even faster. Thinking about that, the subblood black tortoise quivered. It stuck its shiny bald head out of the hole and begged for mercy. "Master Violent Ape, please spare me." Hong! In the air, a huge explosion sounded out. As the tortoise's shell was smashed apart, the inferior blood-black tortoise, who had just revealed its head and was about to beg for mercy, let out a wail. Its enormous body exploded with a bang, and it was directly blasted into a bloody mist by Yixian's big-head black rod. The giant shell was also completely blown up. After all, this giant shell was also a part of the subblood black tortoise's body. Yixian did not want to miss it and caused this venerable blood essence to be damaged. Whoosh! Chapter 4467. On the other side, Yixian took out his big-headed black stick and smashed the tortoise shell of black tortoise subblood into pieces. Then he immediately swung his club a second time. Taking advantage of the moment when the subblood black tortoise stretched out its shiny black head and was about to beg for mercy, he smashed it with his club, causing it to explode into a cloud of blood and directly ending the battle. All this took a long time to describe, but in fact it happened in less than 10 breaths of time. On the other side of the space, Old Pig was rushing toward another giant star in front of him. That should be the lair of the other universe master of Black Tortoise Forbidden Land, which was also the lair of the Spacebug clan, who was at level 2 of this realm. However, due to the solid punch of Space Raging Ape, the tortoise shell of Black Tortoise Subblood was not destroyed immediately, which was beyond Old Pig's expectation. As a result, the old fellow's figure, which was originally flying away, suddenly stopped halfway. He turned around and looked in Yixian's direction. In the next few breaths of time, Space Raging Ape attacked twice. Holding the infamous big-headed black stick, it exploded Black Tortoise Subblood into a cloud of blood mist. Seeing this, Old Pig let out a sigh of relief. He curled his lips and muttered something in a low voice. Then he turned back and rushed toward the giant star in front of him again. However, it was also at this instant that an unexpected change occurred. Wong! A strange buzzing sound that was extremely low and deep, but the frequency was so fast that it made one's hair stand on end. Then in the giant star in front of them, which was suspected to be the lair of Spacebug race, a scorching white light suddenly burst out. The light was so scorching that both Old Pig and Space Raging Ape, who was further away, instinctively closed their eyes at the same time. Their hearts skipped a beat as an extremely bad feeling rose in their hearts at the same time. Time passed too quickly. The two of them were caught off guard by the sudden appearance of the scorching white light, so they instinctively closed their eyes. However, when they opened their eyes again, the scorching white light that burst out of the giant star in front of them had completely disappeared. Even the majestic atmosphere that originally enveloped the entire giant star disappeared in an instant, as if it had never existed in the first place. At this moment, Old Pig's expression changed greatly, and Yixian's heart sank. He didn't hesitate at all, and his terrifying divine sense, which was at the second level of the Universe Master, immediately swept toward the star in front of him. In less than a tenth of a breath, the entire giant star was searched, but there was no trace of that second-level bug race. Instead, there was an extremely strange energy left in the void space. It was obviously the unique wave-frequency energy of some kind of space bug race. Damn it, he couldn't have escaped, right? Bugs are the most difficult to deal with, and their unique wave-frequency functions are all. I didn't expect to meet one today. His ability to escape is too awesome. In the void space, Yixian's godly consciousness voice was heard, and it was filled with unwillingness and annoyance. At the same time, his godly consciousness left the giant star in front of them and was pushed to the maximum, extending in all directions. This was something that could not be helped, because until now, Yixian did not even know which direction his opponent had escaped in. There was no trace at all to follow. The unique wave-frequency ability of this second-level night space bug race was too strange. Too strange. Brother Baoyuan, this is all my fault. At this moment Old Pig had already shot over from afar. His huge body had returned to a height of 30 meters, and his face was filled with resentment. He looked embarrassed and annoyed. This failure had caused his original smug look to disappear. He blamed himself in a low, muffled voice. I was distracted just now. Otherwise, if I had rushed to the nest star of that bug race earlier, I would have been able to stop him. After all, judging by the way he escaped just now, he must have needed time to activate it. A few breaths of time is enough for a universe knight to do a lot of things. Forget it, but we have to be more vigilant. With the escape of this second-level bug race, the news of this incident will be leaked out very soon. Since the enemy had already escaped, there was no point in saying anything more. Yixian waved his hand. As he spoke, he had already broken free from the 8th transformation of Devil Ape, and his body returned to a height of 30 meters. Then he said, "Let's immediately search the nest star of the Black Tortoise, then leave and find a random place, to kill another night-level ferocious beast." Old Pig's face was full of depression. He nodded and did not say anything more. Yixian didn't delay any longer and directly charged towards the largest star on the left side where the Bloodshien tortoise had appeared. After entering the atmosphere, his powerful divine sense spread out, and after searching for a while, he waved his hand and saw everything that could enter his eyes. All the training resources were swept into the undying world within his body. After doing all of this, Yixian charged out of the planet's atmosphere. He didn't stay for a moment longer and immediately left the Black Tortoise Forbidden Area with the Old Pig spirit. Hundreds of billions of miles away from the Black Tortoise Forbidden Land, in the border region of the Milky Way star field, there was an intermediate supreme forbidden land called the Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land. Although the Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land was a forbidden land for ferocious beasts, and not the star field of the ancient survivors, in fact, the so-called ferocious beasts in the Forbidden Land were all from the bug race. More than 80% of the 5,000 ferocious beast stars were nests of the bug race. The most powerful being in charge of the Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land was a universe master from the bug race. His entire body was like a rainbow crystal, so he was known as the Crystal Rainbow Demon Bug. This Crystal Rainbow Demon Bug was at the 3rd stage of the universe master level. Besides him, there was another first-stage universe master in the Forbidden Land. He was also from the space bug race, but he was not a Crystal Rainbow Demon Bug. Instead, he was completely red. This race was called the Blood-Devouring Demon Bug. These two universe masters were the most powerful beings within the Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land, where the Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land was located. Below them, there were 6 universe knights in the Forbidden Land, and they were all from the space bug race. It could be said that the entire Forbidden Land was a gigantic bug nest, so the other ferocious beast races in the space did not dare to trespass in this Forbidden Land. Only some special ferocious beasts that lived together with or were parasitic on the bug race would dare to enter this Forbidden Land. These beasts were like fish in water in this territory of the bug race. Chapter 4468. Shio. Shio. 2 sounds pierced through the air, and 2 bug race beings rushed out from the interior of this gigantic star. They were both universe knights. One was at the 9th level of perfection, while the other was at the 2nd level of perfection. The one who spoke was a level 2 universe knight, and he was also the one who had just escaped from Black Tortoise Forbidden Land. There was a reason why this rank 2 insect clan Venerable had been guarding the Black Tortoise Forbidden Ground instead of the Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Ground occupied by the insect clan. At this moment, the 9th rank Venerable who had rushed out of this giant ferocious beast star with him was his father. Back then, the 2nd rank Venerable was the bloodline he had left behind outside the Forbidden Land of Crystal Rainbows. After many twists and turns, he had formed a deep friendship with that pseudo-blood Black Tortoise. That was why he hadn't returned. In other words, if he escaped back to Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land with the bloodline technique in his body, it would be like returning to his mother's home. It was no wonder that as soon as he escaped, he immediately sent out a voice transmission to complain to the master of the Forbidden Land, the Crystal Rainbow Demon Bug, who was a level 3 universe master Shio. 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 Along with the appearance of the father and son, 5 enormous beings rushed out of the other 5 giant stars in Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land. They were the other universe knights of Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land. Previously, there were only 6 universe knights. If one were to include the second stage Universe Knights who had fled back to their parents' home, and would most likely never leave again, there were now a total of 7 Universe Knights in the Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land. At this moment, with the appearance of all 7 Universe Knights, a figure rushed out from the 2 largest ferocious beast stars on the left and right sides of the Forbidden Land of Crystal Rainbow. All of them were over 100 million feet in size. Although their shapes were different, they all looked like insects. The one on the left had a body that looked like a rainbow crystal. It was incomparably resplendent. It was the Crystal Rainbow Demon Insect. The one on the right was a first-stage bloodthirsty demon bug that was completely blood-red in color and looked extremely ferocious. Is Black Tortoise Forbidden Land also in trouble? At this time, with the appearance of the Crystal Rainbow Demon Insects, a low divine sense voice, accompanied by a strange buzzing sound, rang out. The voice was obviously very soft, but it enveloped the entire vast Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land, clearly transmitting into this area. It entered the ears of the beasts and bugs. Not long ago, a space-raging ape and a space porcupine attacked White Tiger Forbidden Land, and both the subblood white tiger and the rattlesnake leopard were killed. Besides White Tiger Forbidden Land, a few other Forbidden Lands were attacked. According to incomplete statistics, in the past year or so, at least 6 or 7 Universe Knights have been killed in the Supreme Forbidden Lands along the coast of Milky Way star field. That space porcupine's origin is clear. A year ago, it was only an undying emperor. It must have met with some kind of opportunity to break through and become a Universe Knight. However, there are no clues about the origin of that space-raging ape. It seems to be from a power on the other side of Milky Way star field. As for their purpose, we still don't know at the moment. However, that Berserk ape relied on his bloodline secret technique to barely reach the level of a Universe Master. He poses no threat to our Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land. At this point, the Crystal Rainbow Demon Bug's words suddenly paused. When it spoke again, it was clearly colder. However, that Berserk ape's bloodline secret technique is quite extraordinary. It actually allowed him to directly leap into the universe with the power of a Universe Knight. Universe Master, this technique is unheard of. Go, the 7 of you, move out and head in this direction. I used the Bug Clan technique to deduce that space-raging ape and space porcupine are in the area between these 2 directions. As he spoke, he raised one of his claws and pointed twice to the right in front of him. The angle between the 2 directions was about 30 degrees. After you find them, don't act rashly. Immediately use the Bug Clan technique to report the exact coordinates. When the time comes, I'll personally come and capture them. After saying that, the Crystal Rainbow Demonic Insect didn't say anything else. Its huge body bloomed with a blazing 7-colored light. When the light dissipated, it had completely disappeared. It should have returned to the star nest in the deepest part of the forbidden area ahead. At the same time, the blood-devouring demon bug's body emitted a bloody light and disappeared in the same way. In the next instant, faint air-breaking sounds were heard as the 7 insect venerables in the forbidden land of the Crystal Rainbow moved out. They turned into faint lights and darted toward the 30-degree angle indicated by the Crystal Rainbow Demonic Insect at high speed. However, although the 7 insect clan venerables moved out at the same time, they were clearly heading in different directions. Although the area indicated by the Crystal Rainbow Demon Insect was only in the shape of a fan with a 30-degree angle, the further the outer edge of the fan extended, the more it became. Even if the 7 Bug Clan Knights spread out and were in charge of searching from a smaller angle, there were still too few of them. As for who would be able to coincidentally bump into the space-raging ape and the space porcupine in this fan-shaped area, no one knew. In fact, it was hard to say whether this was a kind of luck or bad luck at the moment. After leaving the Black Tortoise Forbidden Land, Yixian and Old Pig rushed all the way to a beginner Supreme Forbidden Land on the right side. At the moment, he already had 9 pieces of Night Blood Essence in his hands. He was only 1 piece away from his original goal of 10 pieces. And with the escape of the level 2 Bug Clan Knight in the Black Tortoise Forbidden Land, the news of him and Old Pig hunting Universe Knights everywhere would spread very quickly. Anyway, they were bound to be exposed, so Yixian did not care. He had already discussed with Old Pig that they would head to a beginner Supreme Forbidden Land in front of them and kill a Universe Knight at lightning speed. Then they would leave immediately from the Black Tortoise Forbidden Land to the nearest beginner Supreme Forbidden Land, The two of them would need at least 6 to 7 days to travel at full speed. This should be the time when the news would spread. Although it was a little risky, it should be enough. However, only 2 days after leaving the Black Tortoise Forbidden Land, Yixian and Old Pig realized that something was wrong. The number of space beasts in the void space suddenly increased. It should be noted that when he and the pig demon were rushing to the primary forbidden areas, they were always on the edge of many forbidden areas on this side of the Milky Way star field. Usually, the number of ferocious star beasts in this area was very small. Now that this situation had suddenly happened, it was obviously abnormal. If there was no accident, it should be related to the Level 2 Bug Clan Knight that escaped. Chapter 4469. 10 million miles ahead of them, 4 or 5 space beasts were roaming the starry sky. The most powerful one was a second-level Undying Emperor, and the other 4 were all late-stage Undying Emperors. No one knew where these 5 powerful space beasts came from, but they were wandering aimlessly in the starry sky. Apparently, they were searching for something. Hong! All of a sudden, a shocking explosion was heard. A few million miles to the right of these 5 space beasts, a space raging ape that was only 30 meters tall suddenly appeared and threw a punch at them. The power of the raging ape had obviously reached the 3rd level of the night realm, and it was far beyond what these 5 space beasts could withstand. Pung pung pung, 5 bangs rang out in succession without any suspense. All 5 of the ferocious beasts were blasted apart, transforming into a bloody mist that spread out. Xiao! After withdrawing his punch, the raging ape waved his hand, and a sharp sound broke through the air. An incomparably majestic and invisible force enveloped an area of 10 million miles, sweeping the bloody mist that had just spread out into his body. He started to condense blood essence. Refine. With this punch, he left a wisp of remnant soul in one of the 5 ferocious beasts of space. Now this remnant soul was taken away by the raging ape, and he started to search its soul. After that, the raging ape turned the remnant soul of the space beast into a wisp of green smoke and dissipated. At this time, the raging ape's face was already very gloomy. The raging ape was Yixian. At this time, after he had blown up the 5 space beasts with one punch and started to search for the information he wanted, ripples appeared in the starry sky not far away, and Old Pig, who was 30 meters tall, scurried over. He asked, "Brother Raging Ape, how is it? What's the situation?" "We've been targeted by an intermediate starry sky forbidden area." Nodding his head, Yixian continued, "Furthermore, this crystal rainbow forbidden area is the base camp of an enormous bug clan. There are 2 universe masters and 6 universe knights." "Oh, that's not right. The 2nd level knight that escaped from the Black Tortoise forbidden area has also joined in. Now, and they have 7 universe knights. These 7 universe knights have all been sent out to search this area," said Luo Feng. "It seems that the 2 universe masters from the Bug Clan have mastered some sort of secret technique that allowed them to deduce our approximate location." "That's very likely. The Zergs are the most troublesome existence to begin with. Not only are they disgusting, but they also have all kinds of strange methods that are hard to guard against. It's normal for them to have this kind of secret deduction method." Hearing this, the expression on Pig Spirit's face became dignified. After pondering for a while, he said, "Then what should we do now? There are already 7 universe knights here. Although we are not afraid, the moment we make a move, we will immediately be triggered. Be careful. When the time comes, as long as one of the 7 universe knights discovers us, they'll send a message immediately. The Bug Clan's communication technique is very mysterious. Since the Universe Master in the Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land dared to send 7 universe knights out to search for us, he must be confident of receiving us. I rushed over as soon as I received the message. There shouldn't be any suspense about this. Didn't that level 2 universe knight from the Bug Clan escape in the Black Tortoise Forbidden Land?" Speaking of this, Pig Spirit seemed to suddenly think of something. He changed the topic and asked, "By the way, what are the cultivations of the 2 universe masters in this intermediate supreme forbidden land? Even if they want to hunt us down, they can't send out both universe masters. One of them has to stay behind to guard the forbidden land, which is why—" "You old geezer, this time you're thinking of the same thing as this Star Master." Turning his head to look at the old Pig Spirit, the corners of Yixian's mouth slowly curled into a sneer. "Of the 2 universe masters in the Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Area, One is at the first level of the realm, and the other is at the third level of the realm. If there are no accidents when they receive the message, they will immediately rush over. The one who will arrive will definitely be the level 3 crystal rainbow demon bug. Speaking of this, he licked the corner of his lips, and his tone suddenly became playful. Level 3 Universe Master? If I were to perform the bloodline technique of 9 changes of demon ape to the 9th change, I would also have the cultivation level of level 3 of this realm. And if I were to add the terrifying power of blood within my huge body of 60 million miles, my true combat power would be comparable to that of a level 4 Universe Master. But if it's just this, it seems a little risky. Since I have decided to make a move, I have to ensure that nothing goes wrong. I can't give him any chance of survival. If so, I will have to make another small breakthrough. Then, under the 9th change, I will be at level 4 of the Universe Master level, but my true combat power will be at level 5 of the Universe Master level. Then, when I reach level 5 of this realm, I will be able to kill him, who is only at level 3 of this realm. Then what are we waiting for? Isn't it just a small breakthrough? For a freak like you, it's nothing out of the ordinary. After listening to Yi Xian's analysis, Old Pig Spirit immediately became excited. He kept urging Yi Xian to find a quiet place and start the breakthrough immediately. This time they were going to kill a Universe Master, and he was only a Universe Master who had just become a Universe Master. Even if he wasn't qualified to make a move, it was worth bragging about being able to participate. How could he not be excited? Immediately, the two left their original location. After half a day, they saw a huge abandoned planet in the void space of the universe ahead. This is the place. Guard outside and inform me if anything happens. After giving his instructions, Yi Xian didn't hesitate any longer. With a flash of his body, he rushed into the huge abandoned planet. In a valley, he waved his hand and took out the Shun-known cauldron. Then, with a flash of his body, he stepped into the mouth of the Shun-known cauldron, which was enshrouded in 9-colored fog. He sat down cross-legged. Shio shio shio, one after another, the sound of something breaking through the air could be heard. They were all the cultivation resources that Yi Xian took out from the undying world within his body, including the 9-colored godly medicine and a large amount of other cultivation resources, such as the all-evil origin liquid. After doing all this, Yi Xian activated the domain of the Shun-known cauldron and compressed all the cultivation resources to the size of a nascent fist. With a wave of his hand, he swallowed all the resources into his stomach. At this moment, a new round of breakthrough was in full swing. Hualala! Almost in the next instant, the sound of shackles could be heard coming from within his body. This time, unexpectedly, there were 2 shackles that appeared. This was clearly the rhythm of another 2 consecutive breakdowns. Perhaps it had something to do with Yi Xian's recent multiple battles with Universe Knights. What followed next was a walk in the park. Yi Xian activated the huge river of energy that had just formed in his body and performed a large circulation in his meridians to accumulate energy. 7 days later, when all the energy had been refined, the 2 shackles were broken with just one impact. As the extremely thick shackles were finally completely broken, the anticipated system notification sounded in Yi Xian's mind one after another. Chapter 4470. With this breakthrough, Yi Xian's combat power rose again. Previously, his original body was only a 2nd-level knight. Once he activated the bloodline power of the ancient demon ape, he could instantly reach the 3rd-level knight level. If he performed the 9 demon ape changes again and reached the 9th change, his combat power would immediately soar to the 3rd-level Universe Master level. And now, after activating the bloodline power of the ancient demon ape, Yi Xian would instantly reach the 5th-level knight level. If he performed the bloodline power of the 9 demon ape changes again and directly entered the 9th change, his peak combat power would reach the 5th-level Universe Master level, which was already the middle stage of this level. However, in reality, if he included the terrifying power of blood and energy in his enormous body under the 9th change, Yi Xian's combat power would be comparable to that of a 6th-level Universe Master level. As a being at the pinnacle of the middle stage of this level, he could only kill a 3rd-level Universe Master level 1. A pinnacle early-stage crystal rainbow demon bug, no accidents would happen. Who would have thought that there would be another 2 consecutive breakdowns? It seems that this time, there will be no more suspense in killing that 3rd-level Universe Master crystal rainbow demon bug. Opening his eyes, Yi Xian's eyes flashed with excitement. The 2 consecutive breakdowns this time had come at the right time, and it had completely reassured him. Besides, other than that 3rd-level Universe Master Crystal Rainbow Demon Bug, I'll be able to kill at least a few of the 7 Universe Knights from the Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land. That way, I'll have more than a dozen pieces of Night Blood Essence in my hands. I'll be able to refine them. The number of level 26 treasure pills that I'll be able to produce will be unprecedented. At this point, Yi Xian's eyes flashed coldly, and his lips curled into a cold smile. Previously, I've been sneaking around and didn't even dare to reveal my true combat power. I was worried that I'd attract the attention of the Universe Masters from the Intermediate Supreme Forbidden Land. But now it's time to show my power. With the end of this great battle, that 3rd-level Universe Master from the Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land has been killed. The previous situation of being cautious of the consequences should come to an end. Swish! After saying that, Yi Xian waved his hand and directly took the Shenong Cauldron, which was shrouded in 9-colored fog, into his body. With a flash of his body, he instantly rushed out of the giant abandoned star under his feet and came to the universe void outside. 5th Order Venerable? In the distance, the old pig who'd been lying dormant in space all along had rushed over at the first possible moment, and he was instantly stunned when he noticed that the aura emanated from Yi Xian's body was actually at the 5th rank of the Exalt realm. Then he seemed to have thought of something. His expression changed and he exclaimed, "It can't be Brother Bao Yuan, right? It's only been 7 days and you actually broke through 2 levels in succession?" Right now, Yi Xian was in the state of activating the Devil 8 bloodline in his body. In this state, his cultivation had increased by a level. Therefore, since his current cultivation was at the 5th order, Yi Xian's true cultivation should be at the 4th order Venerable realm. One had to know that before he went into seclusion, he was only at the 2nd order Venerable realm. If he didn't break through 2 small levels in succession, what else could he be? Yi Xian nodded indifferently as if he was talking about a trivial matter. Yes, it's just luck. I was careless and broke through 2 small levels in succession. I don't want to live anymore. These words almost made the old pig vomit blood on the spot. When he looked at Yi Xian again, his eyes were clearly filled with envy, jealousy, and hatred. Speaking of this Exalt realm, I clearly broke through before you, but now you're already at the 4th order of this Exalt realm. However, I'm still at the 1st order. No, after this matter is over, I won't care about anything else. I'll bury myself in seclusion and break through a few small levels first. Don't worry, after killing the Crystal Rainbow Demon insects, we'll immediately return. This Star Master will bring you to my base camp. Nodding, Yi Xian had no objections to this. Whether you're in seclusion or wandering around from now on, you'll be in charge of the base camp. After all, other than the level 26 treasure pill used to break through to the Universe Master level, we still need the level 27 treasure pill used to break through to the Universe Supreme level. And to make a level 27 treasure pill, each one requires 5 drops of Essence Blood of Universe Masters, condensed from all the blood and energy of a Universe Master after his body exploded. Yi Xian shook his head and sighed. His face was filled with helplessness. In other words, just to make the level 27 treasure pill that you and I need, we'll need to kill 10 Universe Masters. The Crystal Rainbow Demon insects that are about to be killed are one of them. Even so, we're still short of 9. This Star Master doesn't have the time to stay in the base camp. A level 27 treasure pill can smoothly break through to the Universe Supreme level? Hearing this, the old pig's eyes instantly emitted a green light. He stared blankly at Yi Xian and muttered softly, as if he was in a dream. Heavens, am I dreaming? There's no doubt about the level 26 treasure pill now, but I really have it. Can I become a Universe Supreme in one day? See, that's a being only slightly weaker than the great beings of the Primordial Era, and the Supreme beings of the Primordial Era. Definitely a big boss. Oh, thank you, Brother Bao Yuan. It's old pig's greatest fortune to know you. At the end of his speech, the old man seemed to have suddenly thought of something. He suddenly patted his chest and said sternly, "Don't worry, after this matter is over, I, old pig, will take charge of our rear base camp and will definitely take care of your backyard for you. As for you, Brother Bao Yuan, capable people do more work, and I don't have the ability to do that. The great task of killing Universe Masters and collecting 10 drops of Essence Blood of Universe Masters will be handed to you. Do your best, old pig. I have faith in you. Get lost. Yixian was speechless. He rolled his eyes and didn't hesitate any longer. He turned around and shot towards the void of the universe in front of him. With his current cultivation level, there was no longer any suspense in killing a level 3 crystal rainbow demon insect. Hence, the time to lure the snake out had arrived. 2 days later, in a star domain extremely far away from the border of the Milky Way star domain, there was a large number of Bug Clan members roaming the void space. These Bug Clan members were obviously searching for something. Low buzzing sounds could be heard from their bodies from time to time. This was a sign that they were activating the bloodline talent in their bodies and communicating with each other. This was a sign that they were searching for something. As far as the eye could see, even though the bugs weren't densely packed, there were definitely more than enough of them. However, the strongest of them were only at the level of an emperor. Chapter 4471. It could be said that after the accident in the Black Tortoise Forbidden Area last time, whether it was Yixian or the old pig spirit, their vigilance towards these space bugs had long since risen to the extreme. The strange abilities of the arachnids were endless, and they were all different, making it impossible for people to guard against them. Last time, a small second-order venerable had actually successfully escaped. As for Yixian, he was unable to find out where the other party had escaped to. One had to know that this hadn't happened when he killed level 8 knights. From this one could see a spot. Even though they had been following them for half a day, they still hadn't found a single bug knight. However, Yixian and Old Pig weren't in a hurry. This time they had a huge goal, including a few Universe Knights and a Universe Master. It was worth it to wait a few more days. Really, sure enough, 2 days later, the Zerg army that was searching ahead suddenly buzzed loudly. All the Zergs stopped and crouched in the void, motionless. It exuded an aura of incomparable respect and fear. It was as though an extremely powerful being was about to descend, and they were waiting respectfully to welcome him. Yixian and Old Pig, who were hiding in space far behind, immediately raised their guard. Under such circumstances, if there were no accidents, a Universe Knight was about to descend. After all, the leader of this bug army was already an undying emperor. However, at this moment this undying emperor was obviously like the other bugs, crouching in space without moving at all. He didn't seem to be any less respectful. In fact, the fear that emanated from his body was even greater than that of the other insectoids. A being that could make an undying emperor behave in such a manner. If it wasn't a Universe Knight, what else could it be? Soon the buzzing sounds were heard again. In the space to the right of this bug army, a beam of white light suddenly descended. After a flash, a gigantic space bug appeared. It was entirely white. No wonder it could emit such an intense white light. As for its body, it was at least 30 million feet tall, and the energy emanating from its body was that of a level 2 Universe Knight. Upon seeing this, both Yixian and the old pig spirit were stunned for a moment before they were overjoyed. Enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road. A rank 2 venerable insect? Could it be the one that escaped from the Black Tortoise Forbidden Land not long ago? He didn't expect to meet them so soon. This time Yixian did not intend to make a move. He decided to give this opportunity to Pig Spirit. After all, he was the one who had lost the stage 2 venerable insectoid last time. Now, it was only right for the Pig Spirit to settle this matter. Otherwise, he would definitely feel uncomfortable. Although the two of them did not communicate with each other using their godly consciousness, there were space bugs everywhere, and the biological wave frequency of the bug race was quite mysterious. Even if Universe Knights communicated with each other using their godly consciousness, there might still be some clues. That said, although there was no communication between the two of them, it was clear that there was a tacit understanding between them. A woo! In the next moment, Yixian remained motionless, but the old pig spirit suddenly rushed over. Before his figure even got close, a long howl filled with monstrous anger rang out. Along with the howl, he stomped the space in front of him with all his might. Li Wang! An extremely sharp howl rang out, and the stage 2 venerable insectoid was so frightened that his body trembled. Immediately, a loud buzzing sound rang out, and the burning white light on his body surged again. It was clear that he wanted to use this bloodline talent to escape immediately like the last time. If I let you escape this time, how am I going to survive? Almost at the same time, the old pig spirit's godly consciousness voice rang out, and he stomped the ground with all his might. Pung! A huge roar was heard, and the burning white light splashed in all directions. The Stage 2 Venerable Master's body completely exploded. No wonder his body could emit such a burning light. This fellow's blood was burning, and at this moment, it spread out and lit up a large area. In the space. Shio! The old pig spirit retracted his hooves and took a deep breath. A sharp sound broke through the air, and a majestic invisible force enveloped an area with a radius of tens of millions of miles. The red blood mist that had just spread out was swept up and absorbed into the old pig spirit's body, compressing it into a bead. This bead was the size of a human head. Wung! Wung! This scene was too sudden. The countless insectoids in the surrounding space all fled in all directions. As they fled, they let out a loud buzzing sound. They were clearly calling for help, in a mysterious way unique to the insectoids. All of this was what Yixian and the old pig spirit wanted to see. Therefore, although the old pig spirit could easily kill the insectoid emperor that was escaping, he did not do so. Instead, he turned around and rushed in another direction, pretending to chase after the insectoid emperor. A few insectoid emperors. After all, as an insectoid emperor, this insectoid emperor's communication ability must be stronger. It could help Yixian and the old pig spirit attract more targets faster. Wang, Bao Yuan, you're going to die today. Sure enough, after a dozen breaths, a loud buzzing sound suddenly rang out in the space on the right in front of them. Along with the buzzing sound, a godly consciousness voice that was filled with endless grief and indignation instantly descended. It was the father of the level 2 insectoid knight. He was also 30 million feet tall, and his appearance was exactly the same as the level 2 insectoid knight from before. The light emitted from his body was also intense and white. However, his cultivation level was much more powerful. He had already become a level 9 universe knight, which was equivalent to a half-step universe master. If he had not become a half-step universe master, he would not have dared to show up even though he knew that Yixian and the old pig spirit were here. From his point of view, including the information gathered by the outside world, the Starry Sky Violent Ape, which had been carrying out hunting missions in various elementary supreme forbidden lands recently, was only at the first stage of the Universe Master realm. Besides, this was not his real cultivation level. Instead, it was forcibly raised by some mysterious and powerful bloodline technique. Therefore, this pinnacle insectoid knight believed that his half-step Universe Master level and the Starry Sky Violent Ape's barely raised combat power were not much different from each other. Besides, he had used the bloodline technique of the insectoid race to inform the Crystal Rainbow Demon Bug right away, so he would be here in 20 breaths at most. Even though there was a certain gap in power between him and the Starry Sky Violent Ape, it should not be a problem for him to hold on for 20 breaths. The newcomer was a pinnacle universe knight at the peak of the 9th stage. Even though the old pig spirit had already activated the third transformation of the bloodline technique of demonic pig 9 change, and had a cultivation level at the 5th stage of the Universe Master realm, he was far from being a match for the newcomer. He immediately retreated far away. At the same time, Yixian, who had been hiding his aura all this while, showed up. Chapter 4472. 9 Changes of Demon Ape. 6th change. Along with this roar, a huge explosion came from the space ape's body. Within a breath of time, his body had completely expanded, and his speed was so fast that it made one's hair stand on end. At that moment, the power in the space ape's body was rolling like a roaring river. His limbs and bones were surging with endless ferocity. Unknowingly, there was an unimaginably majestic and terrifying force that made people look askance. Within half a breath of time, the space ape's body, which was originally only 30 meters tall, expanded to 30 million meters at an extremely fast speed, which was 60,000 miles. As his body expanded, the aura of cultivation spread out from the space ape's body rose at the same time. From a 5th level knight to a 2nd level universe master. All of this happened too quickly. In the blink of an eye, a 5th stage knight had transformed into a 2nd stage universe master. This was simply a nightmare. The entire boundless void fell into a dead silence. All the escaping space bugs crouched down and shivered. Yixian had his own considerations as to why he chose the 6th change instead of the 9th or 8th. After all, the 3rd-level Universe Master hadn't arrived yet. If he displayed the combat power of a 5th-level Universe Master, the enemy would be lucky if he didn't turn around and flee when he smelled danger. How could he still arrive? In fact, even if he had the combat power of a 3rd-level Universe Master like the enemy, Yixian still didn't feel safe enough. Only a 2nd-level Universe Master was just right. On one hand, he could let the 3rd-level Crystal Rainbow Demon Bug arrive without worry. On the other hand, he could have enough advantages when facing this half-step Universe Master, and ensure that he could finish him off in the shortest time possible. See, you actually broke through one level? The half-step Universe Master in the space millions of miles ahead was indeed fooled by Yixian. Seeing Yixian display the combat power of a 2nd-level Universe Master, he instinctively thought that Yixian had recently broken through one level and used this secret bloodline technique. Only by performing this mysterious bloodline technique would he be able to achieve the cultivation level of a 2nd-level Universe Master. Compared to the level 1 Universe Master not long ago, he was one level stronger. However, even though it was only a difference of one stage, it was still an extremely heavy burden to him. In the face of a powerful being at the 2nd-level Universe Master level, even if the other party had only used some kind of mysterious bloodline technique to forcibly raise his power within a short period of time. However, with his half-step Universe Master cultivation base, he was still far from being a match for him. The difference between a 1st-stage Universe Master and a 2nd-stage Universe Master was too great. Earlier, he still had the confidence to forcefully hold on for 20 breaths of time, but now he didn't even have the confidence to forcefully hold on for 3 breaths of time. Buzz! At this moment, he thought of fleeing. He didn't want to die before the Crystal Rainbow demonic insects arrived. As this thought surfaced in his mind, the body of this half-step Universe Master instantly lit up with dazzling white light. A low and rapid buzzing sound resounded, causing an inexplicable sense of anxiety to rise within the body of this half-step Universe Master. Don't you think it's a little too late to escape now? This kind of thing has already happened in the hands of Old Pig. If it happens again in the hands of this Star Master, this Star Master's face. How can this Star Master accept this? So you can die now. Hong! As the disdainful and mocking voice was heard, the raging starry sky ape rushed out. In the blink of an eye, it was already beside the insect clan Venerable. Then it suddenly threw a punch. A deafening explosion was heard coming from the void. Not far away, the Venerable one from the insects shrieked as its humongous body exploded like an ant. It did not have the chance to react at all as it was blown up by the punch. In the blink of an eye, the gigantic body exploded into a cloud of blood mist that spread out in all directions. Shio! After withdrawing his punch, Raging Star Ape immediately waved his hand, and a sharp air-piercing sound resounded. A boundless, invisible force rolled out from Raging Star Ape's body, and enveloped an area with a radius of tens of millions of miles. The dark red blood mist that had just spread out was swept up and absorbed into his body. Then, he immediately sent it into the Shunnong Cauldron to start refining the blood essence. Previously, when he left the Black Tortoise Forbidden Area, the number of venerable blood essences in Yixian's hands had already reached a total of 9. Just a moment ago, he killed another second-order insect clan Venerable, which could be considered to have reached 10. Now, with the addition of the blood essence of a peak Venerable, Yixian had a total of 11 blood essences in his hands. 11? With a dim light flashing in his eyes, Yixian murmured softly, revealing uncontrollable excitement, especially when there's a top-grade blood essence condensed from the blood essence of a peak Venerable. In this case, if there are no accidents, the probability of refining 9 level 26 treasure pills will be more than 50%. This is clearly the rhythm of making a fortune. Screech! Almost at the next instant, an extremely shrill scream suddenly came from the end of the void space in front of them. Along with this scream, a low buzzing sound that was so fast that it was almost unimaginable also came from the same direction. It was like the sound of thunder rolling over. There was also an incomparably powerful aura of pressure mixed within it. It was also a Universe Master, but it was stronger than the current Space Raging Ape, which was only at stage 2. This was obviously the terrifying force of a Stage 3 Universe Master. At this moment, after a slight pause, Old Pig shook his body, and without hesitation, he immediately turned around and fled in the opposite direction. He didn't want to stay here any longer. A battle between two Universe Masters to him was definitely the rhythm of a battle between gods. If he really stayed too close, he would most likely end up as a little brat who would suffer. At this moment, Yixian narrowed his eyes, and his heart started to pound. At this moment, he suddenly felt an inexplicable sense of excitement. Not long ago, he had never thought that there would be a day when he could become a Universe Master. But now he stood there with incomparable calmness, waiting for a Universe Master to take the bait and kill him. The feeling in his heart was so wonderful that it made him feel as if he was in a dream. A brilliant ray of 7-colored light appeared in front of Yixian, who was slightly distracted, and he suddenly realized that at this moment, he was in a state of being in a trance. It was as if his state of mind had an epiphany, and there was an obvious improvement in his state of mind. This was really a pleasant surprise. He didn't expect that a moment of distraction in the midst of setting up a trap to kill a strong enemy could elevate his state of mind. This was simply, no one else could do this. Hung Long Long. Chapter 4473. Hundreds of millions of miles away. A dazzling rainbow-colored light shot toward them. The light was too dazzling, illuminating a vast expanse of the void. It was only when it was hundreds of millions of miles away that one could see it clearly. It turned out that this rainbow-colored light with a diameter of 100 million miles wasn't a light ball at all. It was a real object, a space bug with a humongous body. The bloodline of this bug was obviously very special, and anyone who saw it would be able to understand its extraordinariness. Its body was crystal clear, like the purest crystal. And this crystal wasn't just a single color. Instead, it was extremely dazzling, glowing with rainbow-colored light. As for the space insectoid, which gave people the illusion that it was a crystallizer life-form, the aura of cultivation that spread out from its dazzling and enormous body was equally terrifying. It was a third-stage Universe Master. Compared to the Raging Space Ape, it was even stronger by a small level. Raging Space Ape, I didn't expect you to make another breakthrough. At this moment, with the arrival of the Crystal Rainbow Demon Bug, an extremely deep but confident voice came from the space in front of it like rolling thunder. Unfortunately, even so, you're still only a second-stage Universe Master. You're already. Although my body is huge and I possess a terrifying amount of vital energy, and I might be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with a being at the third level of this boundary. However, I have been at the third level for 1,000 years. I am only one step away from the fourth level of Universe Master. Hand over your bloodline technique, and I mean all the profound meanings. Today I'll spare your life. Otherwise, I will personally kill you and search your soul. I can also obtain most of your divine ability profundities. You make your choice. Howl. Is a third-stage Universe Master very strong? Look at how cocky you are. Raising his head and roaring, Yixian's mocking and disdainful voice sounded out from within the starry sky berserk ape. Besides, who told you that this Star Lord is only at the second rank? 9 changes of Demon Ape. 9th change. The next moment there was a loud roar, and a huge explosion came from within the Raging Space Ape. In less than a breath, its body had completely expanded, and its speed was so fast that it made one's hair stand on end. The power in its body was rolling like a roaring river. Endless murderous intent surged from its limbs and bones, and an unimaginably majestic and terrifying aura was formed. In half a breath, the Raging Space Ape, which was originally only 30 million feet tall, expanded to 100 million feet tall at an incredible speed. 100 million feet tall, which was 60 million miles. This was a distance of 60 million miles. Even the largest giant star would be reduced to a tiny dot in comparison. Besides, as his body expanded, the aura of cultivation exuded from his body soared as well. In the blink of an eye, he became a 5th-level Universe Master from the previous 2nd-level Universe Master. Everything had happened too quickly. In the blink of an eye, a 2nd-rank Eternity Lord had transformed into a 5th-rank existence. It was so unreal, like a nightmare. In an instant, the entire vast void space fell into a dead silence. All the space bugs who hadn't managed to escape in time were lying on the ground, trembling. Some of the weaker beings couldn't even withstand the pressure of a mid-stage universe master emanating from the space-raging ape. Pung! Pung! The sounds of explosions kept coming, and these weaker space bugs exploded and died. In the distance, that mass of light, which was 100 million miles wide, was emitting dazzling seven-colored light. It was shooting toward the raging space ape, but at that moment it seemed to be frightened and stopped abruptly in the void space. It stopped in the void space of the universe only 200 million miles away from the raging space ape. Immediately afterward, a divine sense voice filled with endless horror and disbelief suddenly came out from this dazzling seven-colored light cluster. What? A fifth-stage universe master? That's impossible. Wang, the divine sense voice that sounded like an exclamation, had just sounded when a strange buzzing sound that was extremely low, but the frequency was so fast that it made one's hair stand on end sounded again. 200 million miles ahead. The huge light sphere that was 100 million miles wide suddenly shone with an even brighter seven-colored light. It was very similar to the movement of the second-stage venerable insect before it tried to escape in the Black Tortoise Forbidden Land. Obviously, the crystal rainbow devil bug intended to flee at this moment. It had come here to seize the mysterious bloodline secret technique possessed by the stellar gorilla, and it didn't want to die here instead. Along with this thought, the crystal rainbow demon bug's body instantly lit up with an even brighter seven-colored light. A low and rapid buzzing sound rang out again, causing an inexplicable sense of anxiety to rise in the hearts of those who heard it. Sight, you brought this upon yourself. I didn't want to find you, at least not now. But you came to me yourself. Seeing this scene, the starry sky berserk ape sighed. Yixian's divine sense immediately sounded out. Since you're here, why leave? Everything today should end now. Boom! After this divine sense voice that was filled with disdain was transmitted, the raging starry sky ape's shoulders shook as it charged out in the next instant. His speed was so fast that it made one's hair stand on end. In the blink of an eye, he was already beside the crystal rainbow devil bug. And suddenly he threw out a punch. Bang! There was no suspense in what happened next. A huge explosion sounded from the void. The crystal rainbow demonic insect, which was only at the third stage of this realm, didn't even have the chance to wail when facing the fifth stage star violent ape, which had a sixth stage battle prowess. Its enormous body instantly exploded like an ant. It didn't even have time to react before it was blasted apart by a single punch. In an instant, the incomparably huge and terrifying seven-colored body completely exploded into a brilliant bloody mist, and then spread out. Swish! Retracting his fist, Bao Yuan immediately waved his hand. An incomparably majestic and invisible force swept out from his body, enveloping a radius of 10 million li. The seven-colored bloody mist that had just spread out was swept up and absorbed into Yixian's body. After that, it was immediately sent into Shenong Cauldron by Yixian to begin the blood essence condensation. This was the first blood essence he had obtained from a universe master-level ferocious beast's body, after it exploded into a majestic bloody mist. This was the blood essence of a universe master-level ferocious beast. It was the blood essence of a universe master-level ferocious beast. The first one was a good start. This meant that the next target Yixian was going to hunt would be of a higher level. Universe masters, huh? It seems that compared to universe knights, there are even fewer of them. Chapter 4474. Hua! Ruthless, ruthless, ruthless. As the crystal rainbow demon bug was killed, there was an uproar in the void space far away, and countless shrill, ruthless howls could be heard. The large number of space bugs that were still lingering in the void fled into the distance like stray dogs. There were also space beasts that were lingering in the distance. They didn't come from the crystal rainbow forbidden land. They were extremely shocked, and they transmitted their godly consciousnesses one after another. What? A fifth-level universe master? This violent ape is going against the heavens. What bloodline technique is this? How could it allow a universe knight to possess such terrifying combat power in an instant? His body is so huge. Although his cultivation level is only at the fifth level, his body is so majestic that it makes one's hair stand on end. He's at the sixth level of this realm. Just one strike, and he killed a third-level universe master crystal rainbow demon bug. How many people can fight against such a being? We can't afford to offend him. Amidst the exclamations, All the space beasts that were watching the battle in the void space far away left in the blink of an eye. After all, the being they were watching was a being that was as powerful as a 6th-level universe master, and he had always been known for his bad temper. Violent Ape was known for his bad temper. If he really stayed here and angered him, he would definitely end up dead. Howl! At the same time, in the void space far away, an extremely excited howl could be heard. Pig Spirit, who had returned to his original height of 30 meters, and his power had dropped to the level of a 2nd-level universe master, ran back. He looked so excited that it was as if he had just received a shot of adrenaline. Brother Baoyan, you've become famous in one battle. Congratulations! The moment he arrived in front of Bao Yuan, the old pig spirit began to congratulate him. There was saliva at the corner of his mouth, and his face was full of envy and jealousy. His tone was also very emotional. Alas, I just don't know when this old pig spirit will have this kind of ability. He killed a 3rd-tier universe master. Yet his true cultivation level is only that of a universe knight. That's unbelievable. Yixian was too lazy to pay attention to him. With a thought, he broke free from the 9th devil ape transformation. There was nothing he could do about it. His massive body was several times larger than the largest star. It was too eye-catching. Very soon, his body returned to its original height of 30 meters, and the aura emanating from his body dropped back to that of a 5th-level universe knight. After that, Yixian seemed to have suddenly thought of something and sighed regretfully. What a pity! Although we killed the crystal rainbow devil bug, and obtained a blood essence of the Eternity Lord, only 2 of the 7 venerables of the crystal rainbow forbidden area came, so we missed out on 5 venerables. Blood essence! Don't miss it! The moment Yixian finished speaking, Pig Spirit jumped up immediately. These are 5 venerables. If we collect them all, we can make another level 26 treasure pill. Now, the strongest great beings in the crystal rainbow forbidden land have all been annihilated, and the only universe master left in the crystal rainbow forbidden land is a blood-devouring demon bug that is only at the 1st stage of this realm. In for a penny, in for a pound, we might as well go all the way and destroy their lair. This way, besides the 5 venerable blood essences, we can also obtain a Aeon Lord blood essence. Yixian's eyes lit up the moment he heard Old Pig Demon's words. That's right. Anyway, the power of a 5th-stage universe master has already been exposed. Many of the space beasts in the distant end of the void space saw it. In that case, why don't we take advantage of this opportunity to do something big, and then immediately go into hiding? Once he heard Old Pig Demon's words, Yixian's eyes lit up. Besides, the crystal rainbow demon bug has just been killed. This is already a big deal. Because this Star Master had just exposed himself, yet he actually dared to immediately run to the crystal rainbow forbidden land to hunt. And I'm afraid that this kind of opportunity will not appear again in the future. Because as time passes, even if we go into hibernation and don't show ourselves for a period of time, including the crystal rainbow forbidden land, the other strongest forbidden lands will all be affected because of today's battle. Yixian had already made his decision. The temptation of a single drop of Eternity Lord blood essence was simply too great. Even if he were to refine a single level 27 treasure pill that would allow him to break through to the Universe Supreme level in the future, he would still need to collect 5 drops of Eternity Lord blood essence. Alright. Currently, he only had 1 drop of Eternity Lord blood essence. If he could get another one, this mission would be 40% complete. He would be close to halfway. It's decided then. After entering the crystal rainbow forbidden land, this Star Master will be in charge of that blood-devouring demon bug, and you will be in charge of temporarily delaying the other universe knights in the forbidden land. I hope those 5 fellows have already returned. After saying this, Yixian did not hesitate any longer. He concealed his body right away, and with a flash he shot into the distance. Howl! Old Pig was extremely excited. He raised his head and let out a long howl as he followed closely behind. On the way to the crystal rainbow forbidden land, Yixian and Old Pig did not use their fastest speed to travel, as the 7 universe knights in the crystal rainbow forbidden land had all been sent out to conduct a search. Right now, it would take a certain amount of time for them to return to the crystal rainbow forbidden land. Since they had decided to annihilate the 5 universe knights from the Spacebug clan, then Yixian and Old Pig could only wait until they returned to the crystal rainbow forbidden land before making their move. In the blink of an eye, 10 days passed. In fact, no matter how slow they were, it only took them 7 days to arrive at the border of the Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land. However, Yixian secretly sneaked in to investigate. He discovered that other than the first Universe Master blood-devouring demon bug, there were still 5 other Universe Knights in the Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land. Of the 5 Universe Knights left, only 3 had returned. The remaining 2 were obviously still on their way back to the Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land. Hence, the 2 of them lay in ambush in the distance at the border of the Forbidden Land and waited patiently. This wait lasted for 3 days. Within 2 days, the 4th Universe Knight had returned, and the last Universe Knight had just passed through the border of the Forbidden Land and entered the Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land 4 hours ago. At this point, the 5 Universe Knights from the Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land, as well as the first Universe Master from the Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land, had all returned to their nest. The time was finally ripe for the final big hunt. Howl. 9 transformations of demonic pig. 3rd transformation. After receiving Yixian's signal to make his move, Old Pig did not hesitate at all. He immediately let out a roar and entered the 3rd transformation of 9 transformations of demonic pig. His body instantly expanded from the original height of 30 meters to about 30,000 meters in the blink of an eye. The power within his body also increased by 3 small levels. In the blink of an eye, he had reached the 5th level of Universe Knight. Howl. 9 transformations of demonic pig. 9th transformation. Pung. Chapter 4475. As the bloodline power of the 9th transformation was fully activated, the power within the body of the ferocious ape started to surge like a roaring river. His limbs and bones were filled with an endless amount of ferocious energy. Within half a breath, his body, which was originally only 30 meters tall, started to expand at an extremely fast speed. In the blink of an eye, he was already 60 million miles tall. As his body expanded, the aura of cultivation within the body of the ferocious ape started to climb as well. From a 5th level knight to a 5th level Universe Master Xiao. Xiao. After that, 2 thunderous sounds broke through the air. Old Pig Demon and Yixian rushed into the Forbidden Land of Crystal Rainbow, one on the left and one on the right. They had already discussed this beforehand, so there was no hesitation at all. Old Pig Demon rushed straight to the nearest giant star. The Universe Knight in charge of this star was a level 2 Bug Clan member. With his level 5 strength, he could destroy it within a few moves. As for Yixian, he rushed straight to the deepest part of the Forbidden Land of Crystal Rainbow. There, in the void space to the right, there was a giant blood-colored star of ferocious beasts. It was the nest of the only remaining Universe Master in the Forbidden Land of Crystal Rainbow, the 1st level blood-devouring demon bug. In an instant, the entire Forbidden Land of Crystal Rainbow fell into a dead silence. Within the thousands of star of ferocious beasts, countless space bugs were dumbfounded. As though they had been struck by lightning, there had been too many shocks recently. One after another, it was simply too much for humans, no bugs, to handle. A few days ago, the news of the death of the Crystal Rainbow demonic bug, the strongest Crystal Rainbow demonic bug in the boundless Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land, had just arrived. Countless space bugs in the boundless Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land had yet to recover from this extreme shock. And now, a new round of shocking changes had suddenly descended upon them. After a short period of dead silence, a voice filled with endless despair rang out, accompanied by a low buzzing sound and a shrill howl. A Universe Master. And a 5th level one at that. It's that violent ape. The violent ape is here. Wang. It's over. The Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land is completely finished. The previous large-scale search clearly angered this violent ape. After killing the Crystal Rainbow demonic insects, it actually killed its way here. This clearly shows that its anger hasn't subsided yet, and it wants to wipe out the entire Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land. Screech. Damn it. I shouldn't have offended him earlier. Starry Sky ferocious apes have always been known for being ruthless and ferocious. Such an existence can't be offended. Run. The Forbidden Land of the Crystal Rainbow is hopeless. Ruthless, ruthless, ruthless. In an instant, the entire vast Forbidden Land of Crystal Rainbow was in an uproar. Within the numerous ferocious beast stars nearby, Countless space bugs were suppressed by the terrifying force of a universe master emanating from the body of Violent Ape. They couldn't move at all. It was impossible to escape. Among them, there were even some with weaker cultivation bases. The moment this terrifying pressure approached their bodies, they had already exploded and died. In an area that was still far away, within the numerous ferocious beast stars, countless space bugs rushed out of the atmosphere. They didn't even look back as they fled for their lives outside the Forbidden Land. Among them was the strongest being within the Forbidden Land of Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land. That first-level universe master blood-devouring demon bug. Xiao. A piercing sound pierced through the air. In the distance, at the end of one's line of sight, a bloody cloud rushed out of the atmosphere of the gigantic, blood-red star on the right side of the void space. It didn't even make a sound as it shot out in the opposite direction of where Violent Ape was coming from. A universe master was so cowardly that he didn't even have the intention to howl. Instead, he buried his head and fled for his life. This really made Yixian's jaw drop. Howl. You're so afraid of death. What a waste of your reputation as blood-devouring demon bug. With a furious roar, Violent Ape's body disappeared from where it was. When it reappeared, it was hundreds of millions of miles away, directly blocking the path of blood-devouring demon bug. Wong. A deep buzzing sound rang out, and blood-devouring demon bug's body came to an abrupt halt. Immediately, a scorching red light bloomed from its body. It was clear that he had activated the secret bloodline technique in his body, and was trying to use it to escape. Even a third-level universe master like Crystal Rainbow Demon Bug couldn't escape from my hands, said Violent Ape. You're only at the first level of this realm. Yet you want to escape? Don't you think you're being a little too whimsical? Hong. At the same time, he rushed out with a shake of his shoulders. In the blink of an eye, he was already beside blood-devouring demon bug. Without warning, he threw a punch. As expected, a deafening roar rang out. Not far away, blood-devouring demon bug let out a wail. Its gigantic body exploded with a loud bang. It was blown apart by the punch. Its gigantic body completely exploded into a cloud of bloody mist and dispersed. Xiao. An invisible force swept out in all directions. Violent Ape waved his hand, and a piercing sound rang out. The bloody mist that had just spread out was all swept up by him. After absorbing it into his body, he sent it directly into Shinnong Cauldron to start condensing. At this moment, he was ferocious, and his demonic power was unparalleled. Alone, he ran amok in an intermediate supreme forbidden area. Countless space bugs were scared out of their wits. Howl. At the same time, near a giant star in the distance to the left, an excited howl rang out. Immediately after, Pig Demon's voice rang out. Brother Violent Ape, I've already taken care of one of Pig Demon. There are 4 more. I'll keep an eye on one. As for the other 3, I'll leave them to you. Hearing that, Yixian turned around. Pig Demon, who had just killed a universe knight, was now rushing toward his second target. This bug had the power of a third-level universe master. Yet it was still no match for Pig Demon. There was no need to worry at all. As for the other 3 powerful Venerable Realm insectoids, they had long since rushed out of the ferocious beast planets they were guarding. They split up into 3 different directions and used their fastest speed to flee out of the Forbidden Land of Crystal Rainbows. Among the 3 universe knights, the one with the highest power was an 8th-level universe knight. Its speed was extremely fast, and the one most likely to escape was him. Xiao. With a flash of coldness in his eyes, Yixian didn't hesitate anymore. With a faint sound of breaking through the air, his body vanished from where it was in the blink of an eye. When he reappeared, he was already in front of the 8th-level universe knight, blocking his escape route. The next moment, before the enemy could react, Space Violent Ape's gigantic right fist suddenly struck out. Boom! An explosion sounded out in the air, shaking the heavens and the earth. This arachnid sovereign of the 8th step didn't even have the chance to make a sound before his entire body exploded into a blood-green mist. Just as it spread out, Yixian waved his hand and sent it into the air. Chapter 4476. The battle had only just begun. In less than the time it took an incense stick to burn, it had already come to an end. A universe master at the 5th stage was too powerful. He could run amok in a supreme forbidden land, and an intermediate one at that. If that third-stage crystal rainbow demonic bug was still here, even though he and the blood-devouring demonic bug would still be unable to avoid death, one or two of the remaining 5 insect clan venerables would most likely take the opportunity to escape. Now the 5 insect venerables were all killed without exception. Shio! Shio! With the arrival of Old Pig Demon, 2 blood beads the size of a human head shot toward Yixian, who had shrunk to a height of 30 meters and whose power level had dropped to the 5th stage Universe Master level, and he took them into his body with a wave of his hand and sent them to Shunnong Cauldron. Then he started to condense the blood essence. At this point, the number of Eternity Lord blood essences that Yixian used to refine a level 27 treasure pill had reached 2. He was only 3 away from the minimum requirement of 5. He wasn't in a hurry. He hadn't even swallowed a level 26 treasure pill yet, so there were still 5 more minor breakthroughs before it arrived. There was still time so he could take his time to collect them. Although the difficulty was high, the minimum requirement of 3 wasn't too high. As long as Yixian's power increased, it wouldn't be a problem for him to take the risk. As for the blood essences of Universe Masters required to make a level 26 treasure pill to break through to the level of Universe Masters, he had accumulated a whopping 16 blood essences. Previously, he already had 9 blood essences. Then, after killing all 7 Universe Masters in the Crystal Rainbow Forbidden Land, he obtained another 7 blood essences, making a total of 16 blood essences. Among the 16 blood essences of Universe Masters, 1/3 of them were from the later stage of the Universe Master level, and 1 of them was from a top-grade Universe Master level at the pinnacle of the 9th stage. In this way, if the Divine Nong 9-colored flames were to be included, Yixian would be able to refine at least 10 level 26 treasure pills out of these 16 venerable blood essences. This was definitely a done deal. In fact, the probability of making 12 pills was around 60% and 13 pills was 50%. If there were 14 of them, there would only be 30% left. With so many level 26 pills, it should be enough for Yixian. Furthermore, it was not enough for the short term but for the long term in the future. After all, a level 26 treasure pill represented the birth of a Universe Master. Even now, Yixian did not dare to imagine that he would have 10 Universe Masters under his command. That was too frightening, simply giving people a dreamlike feeling, too unreal. Brother Bao Yuan, we have to move faster. Just as Yixian was sighing inwardly, Pig's spirit reminded him. With such a huge commotion, the news will spread very quickly. The insectoids are very good at communicating. We only annihilated the Universe Knights, said Luo Feng. There are still quite a few emperors we didn't bother with. Now that they've all run far away, what if they report to the other intermediate forbidden lands? If a few more Universe Masters come, it'll be a headache for you. Loot everything and leave immediately. Shio. Yixian nodded without hesitation. With a flash of his body, he rushed directly into the nest of the blood-devouring demon bug. After a round of looting, he immediately rushed to the nests of the other insectoid knights. In a short 2 hours, everything was over. This time Yixian obtained a huge amount of top-notch training resources. Immediately after, the 2 of them met up and left the forbidden land of Crystal Rainbow immediately. They transformed into 2 faint streaks of light and rushed into the distance. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared into the end of the void space. To Yixian, this phase of the hunt had come to an end temporarily. What he had to do now was to return to the base camp. After the 2 of them left, about a few hours later, from 4 different directions around the forbidden land of Crystal Rainbow, 4 dim figures of different sizes, but their entire bodies were shrouded in a layer of fog. One after another, they shot toward the forbidden land of Crystal Rainbow. They plunged straight into the forbidden land of Crystal Rainbow. These were 4 Universe Masters, and their cultivation levels were not weak. They were all above level 5 of this realm. Among them, there was even a terrifying being who was a level 9 complete Universe Master, which was equivalent to a great being who was a half-step Universe Supreme. In fact, these 4 powerful Universe Masters had obviously rushed over after receiving news of the unforeseen event in the forbidden land of Crystal Rainbow. They clearly knew that there was a ferocious ape whose combat power was comparable to that of a level 6 Universe Master. If they were not at level 6 of this realm, they would not have dared to come over so easily. At this time, the 4 powerful Universe Masters who had arrived were obviously all from intermediate Supreme Forbidden Lands, or even advanced supreme forbidden lands in the surrounding star fields. However, at this moment, their bodies were all shrouded in a layer of fog, so it was impossible to discern their specific identities, their origins. The reason why they had come together was obviously because of Yixian's ferocious massacre, which had already alerted them. Could even be said that they felt threatened. Otherwise, as powerful universe masters, why would they care about the business of others? After a round of investigation, there were no clues, not even the slightest trace of the ferocious space ape's whereabouts. These four powerful universe masters fell into a short period of silence. Shortly after, there was a series of low godly consciousness voices that rang out one after another. "This raging ape is not simple," he said. Although his power as a universe master was forcefully increased by some unknown bloodline technique, he did not leave any traces behind. Even we could not find any clues, so we can see that he did not leave behind any clues. This person is definitely not easy to deal with. That's right. According to the investigation at first, he only hunted undying emperors. After that, he started to hunt universe knights. And when he first started to hunt undying emperors, the power he displayed was only that of a universe knight. That must have been after using the bloodline technique. His cultivation level after using the bloodline technique. That's right. If he already had the cultivation level of a universe master at that time, why would he need to hunt puny undying emperors? He wouldn't even be able to enter the eyes of a universe master. In other words, his cultivation level grew from undying emperors to universe knights in a short period of slightly more than a year? And it seems that he is still at level 5 of the universe knight realm. What a terrifying speed. It's only been slightly more than a year. It's just a matter of a few seconds, and the change in him is so earth-shattering. This ferocious ape has a huge secret on him. His cultivation speed is terrifying, and he also has such a powerful bloodline technique. It's too tempting. Everyone should be tempted, right? Let's not make this public. We'll investigate in secret. When the time comes, if we find anything. Fellow cultivators, please don't act on your own accord. Otherwise, if you really die, the loss will outweigh the gain. That's right. This is a matter of great importance. Everything should be done safely. Let's find a way to capture this ferocious ape first. Xiao. Chapter 4477. After leaving the forbidden land of the crystal rainbow, Yixian and the old pig immediately concealed their figures and even concealed their auras. They did not make any stops along the way and directly rushed to the Source Nest planet located in this remote area in the depths of the primordial void. Shin Base Camp. Yixian was originally a little worried about the old pig, and did not intend to bring him to the Source Nest base camp so easily. But now, the two of them had experienced many battles, and the old pig's performance was not bad. Moreover, he had also tasted the sweetness. Whether it was the level 26 or 27 treasure pills in the future, he would definitely not give them up. He had long been loyal to Yixian. Therefore, there was no need to worry about this matter anymore. What's more, after a period of hibernation, Yixian would leave the Source Nest base camp again. It was not good for there to be no powerful existence to guard this place for a long time. If he was discovered, it would really be a disaster. Therefore, bringing the old pig back to the Source Nest base camp and letting him guard this place in the future was also a decision made by Yixian after careful consideration. A month later, Yixian finally returned to the Source Nest base camp. He did not stop on the surface of the planet, but directly entered the interior of the planet with the old pig. His brother Violent Ape. When I looked from the outside, I thought it was an abandoned planet. It's just a little bigger. As soon as he entered the interior of the planet, the old pig immediately gasped. After entering, I realized that something was wrong. The energy aura here is clearly primordial chaos. This power. Could this be a Source Nest star? Yixian nodded and did not say much. Damn. There are only a total of 5,000 Source Nest stars in the entire primordial void, and basically all of them are nurturing a future demon god level existence. Moreover, all of them are protected by a layer of primordial law power. Just like the Milky Way star field, even the Primordial Supreme and the Primordial Supreme. I'm afraid they won't be able to break in. I didn't expect that you would actually steal one, and even destroy the demon god seed nurtured within it. You took it as a nest and a secret base. This is truly a reckless waste of natural resources. At the end of his words, Old Pig's spirit shook his head and sighed with regret. Yixian was still smiling without saying anything. If this old guy knew that the most powerful demon god in these 5,000 nests that gave birth to chaos demon gods was actually Yixian, who knew how envious one of his doppelgangers would be. He reckoned that beating his chest and stamping his feet would be considered a light punishment. Most likely he would cry and shout that he wanted to commit suicide. While they were talking, the 8 great guardian deities Flying Centipede and Old Monster Silver Hour arrived. When they saw Yixian's current strength, all of them sucked in cold breaths of air. As for Yixian, he was also shocked by what he saw. What scared him was the giant life fortress of the wild dragon ship. The last time he left, the giant life fortress was already very big. It occupied the entire core space of the Source Nest planet. Now, in just a few years, the Wild Dragon battleship size had actually increased by a lot. It had already occupied 1/3 of the space inside the Source Nest star. In other words, although the Source Nest star still looked like a mud rock layer on the surface, the innermost 1/3 had actually been replaced by the Wild Dragon ship. From the looks of it, one day the entire Source Nest star would be replaced, and that day was probably not too far away. As for the strength of his subordinates, they didn't disappoint Yixian. A few years ago, when Yixian left, there were only 10 emperors and more than 100 marquises in the Source Nest star's base camp. But now there were already 2 emperors, dozens of emperors, and 700 to 800 marquises. This was also because before Yixian left, he had already distributed a batch of elixirs of various grades to help them break through to the next level. Otherwise, if he hadn't returned, these guys would probably be stuck at the peak of the 9th level, unable to break through. As for the 8 great guardian deities, they were originally all at the late stage of the immortal realm. But now, after a few years, because Yixian had left them with a large amount of top-grade purple gold treasures, the 8 great guardian deities had all stepped into the conferred king realm. Even Yixian was quite surprised by the speed of their breakthrough. Flying Centipede had already become an emperor, and Silver G had also reached the late-stage emperor level. Their progress was extremely gratifying. And what Yixian was most concerned about was the advancement of the 20,000 demons led by Gue Hai Dao and Song Qingyu. It could be said that in the past 10 years, this batch of demon powerhouses who had followed him first had been in seclusion almost all the time. Ever since the arrival of the battleship legions from the 3 main star planes in the Mulberry Tree star field, they hadn't shown their faces again. However, Yixian had provided them with a huge amount of cultivation resources, and all of them were top-grade items. He had also distributed many elixirs of various grades that were used to break through to the next level. And now Yixian had left for a few years. When he returned again, Gue Hai Dao and the other important demon subordinates had all come out of seclusion. Therefore, Yixian immediately understood their cultivation strength and was quite gratified. After these years of seclusion, Gue Hai Dao, Song Qingyu, Naboshan, Ba Chai, Li Mosquito, Zuofeng Tai, and the others had all reached the emperor level. Even Ying Tai was the same. He was already an emperor. The remaining 20,000 demon powerhouses were all above the universe grade. Among them, there were about 2,000 ordinary undyings and 500 marquises. This was definitely an extremely terrifying elite army. Once it appeared, it would definitely shock everyone. However, Yixian was still not satisfied. In his expectations, all 20,000 demon powerhouses had to be at least ordinary undyings. As for marquises, they had to be at least a quarter, kings had to be at least 1/20th, and emperors had to be at least 100. One of them. This way, the 20,000 demon powerhouses would all be at the undyings level. Among them, 5,000 were marquises, 1,000 were emperors, and 200 were emperors. In addition to their tacit cooperation and battle formation, this was a truly terrifying and boundless undyings army. Perhaps it was still very far away from that day, but at least now Yixian could see hope. He didn't disturb the 20,000 demon subordinates too much. Instead, he distributed a large amount of top-grade cultivation resources, such as 9 colored godly medicines, and let them disperse and enter the wild dragon ship, which had grown to half the size of the Source Nest star. Zhu Zue continued his seclusion. After circling around, Yixian found a quiet place and prepared to refine the level 26 elixir. Xiu. As he waved his hand and took out the farmer god cauldron, A faint sound of something breaking through the air was heard. Immediately after, Yixian's figure flashed and directly went to the mouth of the farmer god cauldron, which was shrouded in 9-colored fog, and sat down cross-legged. With a flip of his hand, 16 infant fist-sized pieces of night blood essence appeared in his right palm. Chapter 4478. After everything was ready, Yixian suddenly waved his hand and took out all the resources and top-grade precious materials required for the formula. Then he closed his eyes. At the same time, in the inner space of the Shinong cauldron, at the bottom of the central domain volcano, whoosh, 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 as the sound of the air breaking rang out one after another, the densely packed dark lights of various colors shot out from the cauldron in the sky above the central domain volcano. They directly appeared above the flame pool at the bottom of the volcano, and suddenly paused for a moment before hovering there. Shockingly, it was the various top-notch materials and cultivation resources that Yixian had prepared for this level 26 treasure pill. Whoosh! A sound like the howling of a gale rang out, and in the next moment, a majestic Shinong 9-colored flame howled out from the pool of flames at the bottom of the central region volcano below these top-class resources. In the howling wind, the 9-colored flame sea condensed into a 9-colored cauldron with a radius of 10 feet. It was small and quaint, exuding an extraordinary aura. Then, this small cauldron formed purely from the Shinong 9-colored flame. The blood essence of the fierce beasts and other materials that had been prepared flew up automatically and entered this small cauldron with a radius of only 10 feet. From then on, the refining of the level 26 treasure pill officially began. Just one level 26 treasure pill was enough to make a cultivator at the peak of the 9th order become a universe master in an instant. One could imagine how important and precious it was. And this was the first time Yixian was refining a level 26 treasure pill, so he didn't dare to let his guard down. He controlled everything with all his heart. He made a series of alchemy hand seals, which turned into obscure and mysterious runes, and carefully entered the cauldron. Inside the 9-colored cauldron, time passed slowly. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. Boom! Suddenly, above the flame pool at the bottom of the central domain volcano, a huge roar was heard. The cauldron formed purely from the Shinong 9-colored flame dissipated instantly. Like a great river, the 9-colored flames roared and rushed back into the flame pool below. What remained above the pool of flames were 13 round beads that were the size of an infant's fist. They glowed with 9 colors, and their surfaces were covered with a layer of dreamy halo. They exuded an ancient and heavy aura. A level 26 treasure pill. It was a level 26 treasure pill that could allow a cultivator at the pinnacle of the 9th level of the Universe Night Realm to break through to the level of Universe Master within a short period of time. There are really 13 of them? The moment this cauldron of pills was refined, Yixian's voice came from the mouth of the Shinong cauldron on top of the volcano in the central region, revealing a strong sense of surprise. Among the 16 venerable blood essences, 1/3 of them were from the late stage of this realm. There was even a blood essence of a 9th stage Great Perfection Venerable. If the Shinong 9-colored flame's power was included, then the divine Nong 9-colored flame's power would be greatly increased. According to Yixian's previous deduction, once the cauldron was started to refine these 16 venerable blood essences, at least 10 level 26 treasure pills could be produced. Even the probability of 12 pills being produced was about 60% and 13 pills was 50%. Now, 13 pills were produced, which happened to be about the same as Yixian's deduction. This meant that in addition to the one he consumed himself in the future, Yixian would have 12 more universe masters under his command. Of course, Old Pig Spirit was definitely one of them, there was no doubt about it. Even though he was only at the first level of the Universe Night Realm now, he was still far from the pinnacle of the 9th level of the Universe Night Realm after swallowing a level 26 treasure pill. However, in this hunting operation, Old Pig Spirit had put in a lot of effort, so this level 26 treasure pill that belonged to him would be rewarded by Yixian later on. Only then could that old fellow be completely at ease in the Source Nest's headquarters and take charge of the rear. After calming down his excited heart, Yixian flipped his hand and took out 13 small jade bottles. He stored the 13 precious level 26 treasure pills in them, and then stored them in the undying world within his body. After that, he stood up and walked out of the Shinong cauldron, which was enshrouded in 9-colored fog. With a thought, the cauldron transformed into a ray of light and rushed into his body, disappearing from sight. After doing all this, Yi Xian went straight back to the top-level central control room of the Long Yi ship's life giant fortress. He had arranged for Old Pig Spirit to stay here previously. Soon Yi Xian would leave again, and while he was away, Old Pig Spirit would stay here to take charge. Therefore, Yi Xian issued an order to Old Pig Spirit to grant him a secondary level of authority. In the future, when Yi Xian wasn't here, Old Pig Spirit would stay in the top-level central control room of the Long Yi ship's life giant fortress. Of course, Yi Xian only granted him a secondary level of authority. Old Pig Spirit could only give orders while the Long Yi ship's life giant fortress was in the Source Nest's headquarters. It was absolutely impossible to drive it away. This kind of order would be directly rejected. Wang. The light screen of the space gate flickered, and Yi Xian's figure appeared. With a single step, he arrived at the top-level central control room of the life giant fortress. Seeing his arrival, Old Pig Spirit, who was strolling at the side, immediately rushed over. His eyes were glowing with a green light, and he looked as if he had just been injected with chicken blood. Moreover, it was the blood of a rooster. Brother Baoyuan, it's only been half a month. And you've succeeded? Although Yi Xian didn't ask what exactly it was, he understood what he meant. For this old fellow to be so anxious, other than a level 26 treasure, what else could it be? When this Star Master makes a move, how can it not succeed? Yi Xian rolled his eyes. At the same time, he waved his hand and took out a small jade bottle from his undying world. He transformed into a jade green light and shot it towards Old Pig Spirit. At this moment, Old Pig Spirit was so excited that his body trembled slightly. After all, this level 26 treasure meant too much to him. He was only a first-order venerable, yet he was holding a supreme treasure pill that would allow him to break through to the Universe Master level within a short period of time after reaching the 9th order venerable level. Who wouldn't be excited by such a thing? See, this aura. Old Pig Spirit stretched out his hoof to catch the small jade bottle. He immediately removed the stopper and poured out a treasure that exuded a strong aura of a Universe Master. Its surface was enshrouded in a dreamy 9-colored mist. At this moment, even with his level of cultivation and state of mind, Old Pig Spirit's breathing immediately quickened. He sucked in a breath of cold air, and after saying half a sentence, he was at a loss for words. He was so excited that he couldn't even speak. Chapter 4479. A woo. Brother Baoyuan, you don't say. Now that I've gotten the treasure pill, I want to try swallowing it. Yi Xian's words clearly provoked the Old Pig Spirit. The old fellow's face was full of anger as he raised his head and let out a long howl. However, he didn't refute anything and directly admitted it. No, I have to go into seclusion. I clearly broke through to the venerable realm before you, but now you're already in the 4th order while I'm still in the 1st order. If this continues, I'll be thrown further and further away from you. Who knows when I'll be able to swallow this 20. Level 6 treasure pill? If this continues, I'll definitely die from hunger. After saying that, he raised his 4 hooves and instantly shot off into the distance. At the same time, his voice that was filled with unwillingness still sounded from afar. Brother Baoyuan, just leave this Source Nest base camp to me. Even if I'm in closed-door cultivation, I'll appear at the first possible moment if anything happens. Take a rest and quickly get the Aeon Lord's blood essence. When you leave, you don't have to say goodbye to me. I'm in a hurry to go into seclusion. Thank you for your hard work, brother. Before he finished speaking, his figure had already disappeared into the distance. No one knew where he went into seclusion in the central control room on the top floor of the giant fortress. Seeing this scene, Yi Xian shook his head and smiled bitterly before turning around and rushing in another direction. He had indeed decided to leave soon, but before he left, there was one more thing to do, and that was to make another breakthrough in his cultivation base. Soon Yi Xian's figure shot out and entered a continuous mountain range. The giant fortress of life was now 1/3 the size of the Source Nest star, and its interior used spatial folding technology, so even just one layer was vast and boundless. Yi Xian found a valley in this mountain range area. Then without hesitation, he directly summoned the Farmer God Cauldron with a wave of his hand. His figure flickered as he stepped into the mouth of the Farmer God Cauldron, which was shrouded in 9-colored fog, and sat down cross-legged. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In the next instant, the sound of something breaking through the air rang out, turning into rays of light that hung in front of Yixian. They were all the cultivation resources that Yixian took out from the undying world in his body, including the 9-colored divine medicine and a large number of other cultivation resources, such as the all-evil origin liquid, were dazzling. After doing all this, he directly activated the farmer god cauldron's domain's power. After compressing all the cultivation resources to the size of a nascent soul fist, it was easy to swallow them all. At this point, a new round of breakthroughs had finally fully unfolded. Clang. Clang, the shackle shackles a shackle, but this time shackle shackles says shackle. This was expected. This was to be expected. After all, he had just received 2 consecutive breakdowns not long ago. Needless to say, Yixian skillfully activated the great river of energy that had just formed in his body, and began to circulate it in his meridians, accumulating strength. A few days passed in the blink of an eye. When all the energy had been refined, it only took one impact for the shackles that had appeared in his body to break. As the shackles were completely broken, the anticipated system notification rang out in Yixian's mind. Ding! Congratulations to host for achieving a breakthrough in the ancient Dongshu formula. Current level. Universe Night level 5. Ding! Congratulations to host. You have achieved a breakthrough in your physical body's qi and blood realm. Current level. Universe Night level 5. 5th order venerable. The breakthrough this time had undoubtedly caused Yixian's battle prowess to soar once again. After the previous breakthrough, Huang Xiaolong's cultivation had reached 4th order venerable realm. Once he activated the ancient devil ape's bloodline power in his body, his cultivation would instantly rise to 5th order venerable realm. If he were to perform 9 changes of demon ape and reach the 9th change, his power would immediately soar to that of a 5th level universe master. However, after this breakthrough, Yixian would instantly possess the strength of a 6th order venerable, after activating the devil ape bloodline in his body. If he were to execute the bloodline power of 9 demon ape transformations and enter the 9th transformation, his peak combat power would be equivalent to that of a 6th stage universe master. This was already the pinnacle of the middle stage universe master level. He was only one step away from becoming a late-stage universe knight. However, if one were to take into account the terrifying blood essence energy within his massive body of 60 million kilometers under the 9th transformation, Yixian's current pinnacle combat power was comparable to that of a 7th-stage universe master. Even if he encountered an 8th-stage universe master, he could guarantee that he would not lose. Only when he encountered a 9th-stage pinnacle, which was equivalent to a half-supreme, would he be a threat. After calming down his excited emotions, Yixian stood up and stepped out from the mouth of the Shun-known cauldron, which was enshrouded in 9-colored fog. With a wave of his hand, he directly stored the cauldron into his body. After doing all this, he did not disturb old pig demon. This old fellow was indeed stimulated. Besides, the level 26 treasure pill that he had already obtained was also a form of motivation for him. During this period of time when he was overseeing the Source Nest headquarters, with old pig demon's temperament, if there was nothing important, he would definitely not come out of seclusion. Instead, he would grit his teeth and stay in seclusion to break through. Yixian believed that perhaps the next time he returned, old pig demon's cultivation level would most likely be that of a late-stage universe knight, even if he had not yet reached the level of a universe master. Regarding this, he was quite optimistic about old pig demon. After obtaining a level 25 knight treasure pill, this old fellow had broken through from level 6 Emperor Undying to level 1 Emperor Undying very quickly, and he did not disappoint Yixian soon. Yixian walked out of the top-level central control room of the Life Giant Fortress of Wild Dragon ship. He had originally planned to leave because whether it was the 20,000 demon elites led by Gue Hai Dao, the 8 Vajra warriors Flying Centipede, Old Monster Silver G, or his trusted subordinates, such as the 8 Vajra warriors Flying Centipede, and Old Monster Silver not long ago, Yixian had distributed a large number of top-level cultivation resources, especially the 9-colored godly medicine that they had never seen before, so all of them had gone into seclusion excitedly. Even the more than 10 million ferocious beasts in the army, except for those who happened to be on duty, were basically all in seclusion on the level of the Life Giant Fortress that was open to everyone. Although this source nest star was extremely huge, and there were many demon great beings and space beasts stationed here, in fact it had always been extremely quiet. All of the subordinates in the headquarters were mainly in seclusion on a daily basis. Under such circumstances, Yi Xian would be bored if he stayed here, so he might as well start his journey earlier. However, to his great surprise, just as Yi Xian walked out of the central control room of the Life Giant Fortress, and was about to rush to the surface of the planet where the Source Nest headquarters was located, an unexpected figure appeared in front of him. It was as if this figure had been waiting for him there for a long time. Ordinary, this figure was none other than Ying Tai, whom Yi Xian had never paid much attention to. Chapter 4480. What's the matter? Yi Xian turned to look at Ying Tai and frowned. If there's nothing important, I'll go on a long journey. He still didn't want to come into too much contact with Ying Tai. However, since the other party was arranged by his side by the Immortal Empire's imperial advisor, Dier, and since then, he had always been well behaved and didn't make any strange movements, so Yi Xian couldn't be bothered with her. More importantly, with his current cultivation and strength, even if Ying Tai had any ill intentions, Yi Xian would be able to completely ignore it. They weren't on the same level at all. In fact, even if the imperial tutor of the Undying Dynasty, Dier, was here facing Yi Xian, the situation would be the same. No matter how strong Dier was, according to Yi Xian's analysis, he shouldn't be as strong as a universe master. I've been crowned emperor. Nodding his head, Ying Tai suddenly said. Yi Xian was startled and suddenly felt a little strange. I know that. What's wrong? Being at the emperor level means that one's divine sense is extremely strong. Ying Tai's face was still calm and composed. She continued, actually, when I first entered the Hongmeng Void, I had a kind of divine sense that seemed to be calling for me. But at that time my strength was still weak, so my divine sense wasn't very strong. But as my strength increased over the years, especially after becoming an official level Undying, because of the strength of my divine sense, I felt that kind of calling getting stronger and stronger. After being crowned emperor, the calling from my divine sense would appear every once in a while, and it's extremely strong. So this time, can you take me with you? I have a feeling that as long as I go out for a walk, I'll be able to find the calling. The source of the calling power. The calling power from the unknowns? Yi Xian didn't expect that she would look for him and say this. He frowned immediately. After becoming an official level Undying, especially an emperor level Undying, the divine sense of a strong warrior in space would greatly increase. He naturally knew this. From this perspective, there was no loophole in Ying Tai's words. But in fact, Yi Xian didn't believe her words at all. She was different from Xue Ben, who also left because he felt some kind of calling power. She was different from all the other flesh and blood life forms. Ying Tai wasn't a flesh and blood life form at all. She was from the Tianji clan. Since she wasn't a flesh and blood life form, how could she feel the calling of the bloodline? Of course, the Tianji clan was a very strong clan now, but it was a new clan that was born in the Hongmeng Void, and this was the Hongmeng Void, which was ancient. Tianji clan's clan. How could Ying Tai feel it here? The so-called calling power from the unknowns? Unless. As this thought flashed through his mind, Yi Xian's expression immediately changed. His eyes also revealed a cold light. Could it be that the Heavenly Legacy clan has also entered this primordial chaos void? If Ying Tai wasn't lying, then this was the only possibility. Moreover, the Tianji clan had disappeared from the three main planes of the Starry Sky realm for many years, and now even Yi Xian had been in the Hongmeng Void for more than 10 years. It was entirely possible that the missing Tianji clan had also entered the Hongmeng Void due to some sort of fortuitous encounter. It was possible. Thinking of this, a dark light flashed within Yi Xian's eyes as he instantly raised his guard. Given his current level of cultivation, if he were to perform the 9th transformation of the bloodline of 9 demon ape within his body, he would possess the pinnacle combat power of a 6th level universe master. He was just one step away from becoming a late-level universe master. Even so, Yi Xian didn't dare to let his guard down against the Tianji clan. On the one hand, it was out of habit. After all, he had always subconsciously regarded the Tianji clan as his true enemy. Although he did not view them as favorably as the heavenly Tao of the untainted land, he had never neglected them. Furthermore, the patriarch of the heavenly fate race had always been mysterious. Although it was unlikely for his cultivation to reach the level of a universe master, it had to be known that the heavenly fate race had disappeared for so many years. All these years, Yixian's own cultivation had been exploding. Even the army under his command had been reborn. They were far from what they used to be. However, if he could do this, why couldn't he? Was the Tianji clan destined to stay where they were? This was a very difficult race to deal with. De was only a robot created by Xing Bo, the pioneer of human technology. In just a few tens of thousands of years, he was able to create such a shocking scene and become one of the three great space masters. He was the only overlord of the space. Even the entire human race couldn't compete with him alone. They had to join forces with other races in the second universe to establish the Myriad Luo Federation. Only then could they be on par with him. This showed how terrifying the Tianji clan and De were. If De really brought the entire Heavenly Fate clan into the Hongmeng Void, even if it was only the fragment of the untainted world outside the Hongmeng Void, given the rich resources there, De and the Heavenly Fate clan would definitely develop at an astonishing speed. It was hard to predict what kind of level they would have reached. It's not the Tianji clan. However, to Yixian's surprise, the moment he finished speaking, Yingtai shook his head without hesitation. His tone was very firm. The summoning power I felt was definitely not related to the Tianji clan. Because I am no longer a member of the Tianji clan. I am no longer a member of the Tianji clan. I am from the automaton race. Ah, automaton race? The heir's automaton race? This answer surprised Yixian. All along, he had been sure that Yingtai was from the Tianji clan. However, now that he suddenly said that he was from the automaton race, Yixian was a little confused. Although the Tianji clan was the same as the automaton race in that they were intelligent robots that had developed self-awareness and evolved into mechanical life forms, the Tianji clan belonged to De, and the automaton race belonged to De heir. The two of them were fated to be mortal enemies. There was no need to say much about the precautions they took against each other. Under such circumstances, as a member of the automaton race, how could Yingtai have infiltrated the Tianji clan? It was impossible for the emperor not to have noticed this. In the beginning, I was indeed from the Tianji clan. However, later on, in the imperial capital of the everlasting dynasty, the clan leader, who is the imperial preceptor De heir, had already changed my core source code. From then on, I was no longer a member of the Tianji clan. Chapter 4481. I see. After listening to Yingtai's words, Yixian was stunned for a moment. Then, a look of realization appeared on his face. Since Yingtai had said so, he naturally understood everything. Yixian also had an electronic doppelganger. If he was not mistaken, that electronic doppelganger should have already infiltrated the headquarters of De heir's machine race. Therefore, Yixian understood electronic life forms like the Tianji race and the machine race quite well. Although the bodies of the so-called electronic life forms were equally important, they needed to undergo modifications time and time again to make the specific form of their existence, which was the mechanical body, more and more powerful. However, to the electronic life forms, the true core of their existence was actually a string of extremely complicated data source codes. The mechanical body could be changed at any time. It could be changed time and time again to make it stronger. However, this string of extremely complicated data source codes was the root of their existence. It was just like the soul of a physical life form. As the leader of the machine race, it was naturally understandable that De heir had this kind of ability to change Yingtai's core source codes. After Yingtai's core source codes had been changed, it was as if the soul of a physical life form had been changed. Naturally, she was no longer a member of the Tianji race. Instead, it was as if her soul had transformed and she had become a member of the machine race. After understanding all of this, Yixian seemed to suddenly think of something. His eyes flashed again. In that case, the mysterious summoning power you felt should be related to the machine race? Could it be? De heir has already brought the machine race into this world? He entered this primordial chaos void? No, it's also not the machine race. What made Yixian stunned again was that this time, Yingtai actually shook her head again. Moreover, whether it was the expression on her face or the light in her eyes, they were all incomparably resolute. There was no trace of hesitation. Clearly, she was also very sure about this. This time Yixian was not happy. He felt as if he had been played. He had been so shocked that his emotions were on the rise and fall. After all this fuss, it turned out that Ingtai was just spouting nonsense. You played me? With a flash of light in his eyes, Yi Xian's expression immediately darkened. There was also a strong sense of hostility in his tone. He said unhappily, "You're not from the Tianji race or the machine race, but you insist that you felt a mysterious summoning power. You're an electronic life form. It's an electronic life form. Could it be that it has the bloodline of another race?" Facing Yi Xian's doubt, Ingtai remained calm and composed. The expression on his face remained firm as he shook his head. After pausing for a moment, he continued, "To be precise, this summoning force allowed me to feel the aura of the Creator." "It should be." Yi Xian nodded and said, "To be more precise, this summoning force made me feel the aura of the Creator. It came from the Master of Creation. He is still alive in this primordial chaos void." "Creator? What?" Yi Xian was stunned once again. He subconsciously replied, then his expression changed drastically. "You mean Xingbo?" This was obviously the only answer. Whether it was the Tianji race or the machine race, they were all created by the pioneers of the human race's technology. In fact, even the leaders of these two races, D and D Air, who stood at the peak of the electronic life form, were personally created by Xingbo. Therefore, to all the electronic life forms, Xingbo was undoubtedly a supreme existence like the Creator. Whether Yu Tai was from the Tianji race or the machine race, it was meaningless to call him the Creator. Moreover, as a member of the life form race created by Xingbo, it was normal for Yu Tai to feel his aura. Yi Xian had thought of all the possibilities before, but he had not thought of this. This was because, in his understanding, the human race's technological pioneer, Xingbo, had fallen long ago, and he had been dead for tens of thousands of years. If Di had not betrayed the human race, killed Xingbo, and led the Tianji race in a rebellion, how could the current situation of the three main starry skies have developed to the way it did? Perhaps even the Myriad Net Federation would not have appeared. All of this was common knowledge in the three main starry skies of the current world. But now Yu Tai told Yi Xian that she felt the aura of Xingbo, the creator of the electronic life form, and that there was a strong calling from the unseen world that was guiding her to pursue him. This was simply shocking. If Xingbo had not died, how could he have allowed all of this to happen? How could he have allowed Di to lead the Tianji race, which was growing stronger day by day, and eventually dominate the three main starry skies of the three main starry skies? Even the entire human race was chased out of the first universe and moved to the third universe. It should be known that Xingbo was known as the technological pioneer of the human race. To the entire human race, he was like the god of technology. If he really did not die and witnessed all of this with his own eyes and did nothing about it, to the entire human race, then to the entire human race, that would mean it was simply tantamount to the collapse of faith. Even if Yi Xian did not belong to this starry sky and came from somewhere else, he still could not accept this kind of thing, let alone the people of the human race who had been born and raised in the three main starry skies of the current world. After calming down with great difficulty, Yi Xian took a deep breath. When he looked at Yu Tai again, his expression was extremely solemn. "Are you really sure that the unseen calling power you felt is the so-called Creator star, Bo?" "No, I can't be sure if it's the Creator himself. This is just my intuition, an extremely strong intuition." Yu Tai shook her head. "But I can at least be sure that this calling power is definitely related to the Creator, and definitely not from the Tianji race or the machine race." "All right, that's enough." After saying that, Yi Xian suddenly waved his hand. "This time I'll take you out with me. Every once in a while I'll let you out. I hope you can find the source of this unseen calling power." Whoosh! With a faint sound of breaking through the air, Yu Tai's figure disappeared in an instant. She was taken into the Shenong cauldron by Yi Xian. Even though he had decided to bring this girl along, Yi Xian still couldn't let her follow him all the time. After all, Yu Tai's current cultivation was only at the conferred king realm. It was no exaggeration to say that for the current Yi Xian, her cultivation strength was really no different from a burden. After doing all of this, Yi Xian's figure flashed, and he immediately rushed out of the star core of the nest star under his feet. After arriving on the surface of the base camp, he directly rushed into the distant void, and his figure disappeared in the blink of an eye this time, He was going to the most powerful forbidden area and the most powerful star domain around the Milky Way star domain. Chapter 4482. Blood Sea Forbidden Land was an intermediate supreme forbidden land. However, unlike the other intermediate forbidden lands, there was only one Universe Master in Blood Sea Forbidden Land, although there was a Universe Master guarding it. In fact, other than the Lord of the Blood Sea who guarded the forbidden land of the Blood Sea, there were no other living beings in the vast forbidden land of the Blood Sea. Perhaps there had been in the past, but now they had all been swallowed up and turned into Blood Sea puppets of Blood Sea Master. Blood Sea Master's cultivation level was the same as Yixian's current pinnacle state, which was the 6th-stage Universe Master. In fact, his original body was a Blood Sea. It was said that during the previous primordial era, the most powerful demon god who created the universe, Pengu, had turned into a pool of filthy blood after his body exploded. Back then, Pengu, who possessed the laws of the universe, was the most powerful being among the 5,000 demon gods during the previous primordial era. He held a gigantic axe and split open the sky and the earth. Since then, the universe had been created. However, after splitting open the sky and the earth, the universe had run out of energy. His body and primordial spirit had all collapsed, and a pool of filthy blood had sputtered out and landed in a desolate star domain in the primordial era. After countless years, this pool of filthy blood had its own meaning and slowly grew. Today, it had reached the level of a Universe Master and called itself Blood Sea Master. In his previous life, Blood Sea Master was only a pool of filthy blood of Pengu, the most powerful demon god in the primordial era. However, in this life, the new primordial era was about to arrive, and Blood Sea Master was unwilling to just be a pool of filthy blood in the body of a chaos demon god. Therefore, in the past countless years, he had tried to find the nest stars in the primordial era where the chaos demon god of this era was born. Unfortunately, he failed in the end. The primal chaos seeds in the nests that he found had already sprouted. As a result, these nests were all protected by an invisible force of the primordial law, just like the mother planet. It was the same as the Milky Way star field. With his cultivation, he could not break it at all. The Lord of the Blood Sea, who was disappointed that he could not obtain a single Sourcehive star and stole the primordial destiny of this era, rushed to the Milky Way star domain in a rage. He occupied a vast primordial void in a certain area around it, and called himself the Lord of the Blood Sea. That area was listed as a forbidden area in the Blood Sea, because he had the power of a Universe Master. From then on, among the many forbidden lands surrounding the Milky Way star field, there was one more intermediate forbidden land. At that time, there were still a large number of ferocious beasts in the thousands of ferocious beasts in the Blood Sea Forbidden Land. However, after the Lord of the Blood Sea settled in that void and sealed it as the Blood Sea Forbidden Land, in just a short 10,000 years, the ferocious beasts and the thousands of ferocious beasts in that area all became ferocious beasts. All the space beasts were swallowed up by a sea of blood. Because of this, the power of the Lord of the Blood Sea skyrocketed from the 4th-level Universe Master 10,000 years ago to the 6th-level Universe Master today. However, from then on, there were no other life forms in the Blood Sea Forbidden Land. There was only a boundless blood sea that fluctuated in size and size. This boundless blood sea was the true body of the Lord of the Blood Sea. All these years, almost no life form dared to enter the Blood Sea Forbidden Land without permission. This was because all the ferocious beasts and the primordial survivors who entered were all swallowed up by the boundless blood sea and turned into the Lord of the Blood Sea to improve his power. The flesh and blood resources of power, of course. The Lord of the Blood Sea had thought of leaving the Blood Sea Forbidden Land and going to other forbidden lands in the starry sky to start swallowing and killing. However, even with his ferocious nature, he did not dare to do such a thing lightly. After all, there were many supreme forbidden lands around Milky Way star field. Although he was ferocious and powerful, he was not invincible. A few universe masters at the same level as him would be able to crush him easily. He did not dare to incur the wrath of others. The Blood Sea Forbidden Land was Yixian's next target. Under the state of the 9th change of Demon Ape, Yixian's peak power was only at the 6th level Universe Master level. However, because of the boundless power of the blood in his 60 million mile-long body, his true combat power was comparable to that of a 7th level Universe Master level. This way, Yixian chose the Lord of the Blood Sea, who was also at the 6th level Universe Master level, as his opponent. Once the battle started, he could ensure that he could defeat his opponent and tap into all his potential. This battle would be a hardy one. He would definitely be able to sharpen himself in the bloody battle that he was looking forward to. Besides, there was another reason why Yi Xian chose the Blood Sea Forbidden Land as his next target. Now, under the state of the 9th change of Demon Ape, his peak power was comparable to that of a 6th level Universe Master level. Because of the boundless power of the blood, his final combat power was comparable to that of a 7th level Universe Master level. However, at the same time, his 60 million mile long body was too big, and it was extremely inconvenient. If he were to encounter a situation where he had to maintain his powerful cultivation level of a 6th level Universe Master level and conceal himself, Yi Xian would have a huge headache. If he could shrink his 60 million mile long body under the state of the 9th change while maintaining his 6th level Universe Master level without dropping, even if he couldn't reach a height of 30 meters, it would only reach a height of 30,000 meters. To Yi Xian, this was a huge deal. It was absolutely significant. Even if he would lose the boundless power of the blood in his boundless body to Yi Xian, it would definitely be worth it to increase his overall combat power by 1 level. Sometimes, the difference of 1 level's combat power wasn't too important. However, whether he could maintain his state of concealment was often an extremely crucial factor and effect. After fully comprehending the essence and meaning of the 9th change of Demon Ape, Yi Xian took some time to deduce the bloodline ability of the 9th change of Demon Ape. He wanted to find a way to shrink his body size without affecting his increase in combat power. Unfortunately, he didn't find anything. However, Master of the Blood Sea gave him hope. He seemed to have a similar bloodline technique. His original body was a pool of filthy blood from a chaotic demon god. It was as boundless as the sea. That was how the name of Master of the Blood Sea came about. However, according to the information that Yi Xian had obtained, Master of the Blood Sea could transform into a vast and endless sea of blood, and could also transform into a single drop of blood in an instant. In an instant, it condensed into a small drop of blood. It was incomparably easy and unobstructed. Although ordinary experts of the starry sky, including humans and beasts of the starry sky, could change their sizes, they basically all had their limits. Even Yi Xian couldn't do it with a small drop of blood and an endless canopy that was like an entire vast star field. He could transform between the bloody sea as if it was a game. Chapter 4483. The Forbidden Land of Blood Sea was right in front of him. Even though Yi Xian was still at the edge of the Forbidden Land of Blood Sea, he could already feel a towering bloody aura coming from the void space in front of him. At this moment, he had activated his Demon Ape bloodline and transformed into a raging space ape, but he hadn't activated his 9 Demon Ape transformation bloodline technique yet. He was 30 meters tall, and the aura emanating from his body was that of a 6th level Universe Knight. Xiao with a sway of his body, Yi Xian didn't conceal his figure at all. Even his aura wasn't concealed in the slightest as he directly charged into the Blood Sea Forbidden area. In an instant, as he rushed into the Forbidden Land of Blood Sea, the murderous bloody aura became even stronger. At the end of his line of sight, a boundless blood sea the size of a star field appeared in his sight. Yi Xian had only seen such a creature that was as large as a star field in the inheritance of the heavenly fallen bow and other supreme primordial divine abilities. Even when he saw the giant void tortoise in his previous life, the giant void tortoise wasn't in its complete form. Although it was huge, it was only about 60 million miles long when Yi Xian was in his 9th transformation. It could be said that in reality, this was the first time Yi Xian had seen a single creature with such an enormous body. It was as vast as a star domain. Even Yi Xian's 60 million kilometer figure under the 9th transformation wouldn't be too eye-catching if he were to throw it into this vast sea of blood. Who? Huh? A raging space ape? A 6th level Universe Knight? At this moment, following Yi Xian's arrival, the originally calm sea of blood in front of him instantly became calm. Monstrous waves of blood soared into the sky, accompanied by an incomparably cold voice of divine sense that swept towards Yi Xian. How many years has it been since a life form from the outside world dared to enter the Forbidden Land of Blood Sea? Speaking of which, the last time I swallowed blood and flesh was almost 10,000 years ago. Who would have thought that I would be able to swallow a Universe Knight level space raging ape today? This is really a pleasant surprise. These voices clearly came from the Lord of the Blood Sea. That guy had taken Yixian, who had intruded into the forbidden area of the Blood Sea, as his flesh and blood. If you want to devour this Star Lord, you'll have to see if you have such good teeth. Don't end up being devoured by this Star Lord instead. 9 transformations of the demonic ape. 9th transformation. After replying with disdainful words, the next moment, a roar rang out and a huge explosion came from the galaxy-violent ape's body. In less than a breath of time, his body had completely expanded. The speed was so fast that it made one's hair stand on end. The power in his body surged like a roaring river. His limbs and bones surged with boundless ferocity. Invisibly, there was an unimaginably majestic and terrifying aura. In half a breath of time, the raging ape, which was originally only 30 meters tall, expanded to a height of 30 billion meters at an extremely fast speed, which was 60 million miles. Besides, as his body expanded, the aura of cultivation that permeated the raging ape's body rose at the same time. From a 6th-level universe knight to a 6th-level universe lord in the blink of an eye. All of this happened too quickly. In the blink of an eye, a 6th-level universe knight had transformed into a 6th-level universe lord. In less than half a breath of time, his power had increased by an entire realm. It was simply unbelievable and unheard of. Is this the power of the bloodline technique? Seeing this scene in the boundless Blood Sea, there was another exclamation of surprise. The Lord of the Blood Sea seemed to be interested in the bloodline technique that Yixian had suddenly displayed, which could instantly increase his power by an entire realm. After a short moment of silence, a roar filled with unwillingness and excitement rang out from the boundless sea of blood in front of them. Roar! This is not fair. In terms of size, how can you compare to me? But why is it that after your body expanded, your cultivation strength also increased, directly rising by a large realm? As for this Lord, I have such a vast sea of blood, but no matter how it changes, no matter how vast and majestic it is, my cultivation strength is still the same. This is not fair. I am formed by the filthy blood in the body of the strongest demonic godly treasure. My bloodline is extremely noble. Why can a small raging ape like you have such a miraculous bloodline technique, while I can only change my size and devour? Howl. But it doesn't matter. Raging ape, as long as I devour you, I'll naturally get your miraculous technique. TSK TSK TSK. I didn't expect to get such a good deal today. Who? Hua la la. Hong. As the last voice was heard, in the boundless blood sea ahead, countless gigantic blood waves that were larger than giant stars surged into the sky. In the end, they gathered together and formed a gigantic blood palm that was like a curtain in the sky, slapping towards Yixian's head. The aura is indeed astonishing. It's so huge that even this Star Lord's 60 million strong body is like a small dot compared to this blood palm. Yixian's eyes flashed with a cold light as he looked at the blood-colored palm that blotted out the sky and covered the earth. As he spoke, a hint of disdain appeared on the corner of his mouth. What a pity, although the momentum is astonishing. No matter how majestic and huge this blood palm is, the aura of its power is still in the end. It's still only a 6th-stage universe master. As such, it's destined for a tragic ending. Today I will harvest the 3rd blood essence of Universe Master. Hong. With that last sentence, Yixian didn't hesitate anymore. With a flash of his body, he didn't retreat. Instead, he charged toward the sky blood palm that was crushing toward him. He raised his right arm at this moment, and with a power that could destroy the heavens and the earth, he suddenly smashed it upwards. Hong long long. An earth-shattering explosion resounded. Facing Yixian's punch, which was comparable to a 7th-stage universe master's, the gigantic blood palm that was as huge as the sky collapsed in an instant. Not only that, but even the entire blood sea that was connected to the wrist of the blood palm seemed to have undergone some kind of huge explosion. Countless blood-colored waves splashed in all directions. Such a majestic and endless blood sea that was like a star domain was actually shattered into pieces by the might of Yixian's punch. It was no longer connected. Howl. This is impossible. Raging ape, you actually injured me? Chapter 4484. With just one hit, Blood Sea Master's bloody sea was torn apart, and he was severely injured. His original power of a 6th-level Universe Master dropped to 4th-level Universe Master in an instant. Although the cracked body of the Sea of Blood could still be reassembled, under such circumstances, facing a terrifying violent ape with the battle prowess of the 7th level of this realm, this kind of opportunity to turn back and recover, and then reassemble the cracked body of the Sea of Blood into one again, it would be very difficult to do so again. Howl! Baoyan, you're hurting this lord. You can't escape. Do you really think I don't know where you come from? I pretended not to know you just now to confuse you. Soon you will be surrounded. In the shattered Blood Sea, the Lord of the Blood Sea's strange laughter rang out once again. There was a strong sense of complacency in it. You're courting death. Of all the people you could have targeted, you actually chose me. My original body is an endless bloody sea, and my life force is too strong. As long as this bloody sea still exists, my consciousness will have endless energy. You can't kill me. At least before they arrive, there is absolutely no possibility of that happening. Howl! In the end, a heaven-shaking roar sounded out. In the vast sea of blood in front of them, 5 figures slowly stood up from the monstrous waves of blood. In the end, they transformed into 5 blood-colored demons that were similar in size to the current Yixian. They were in 5 different directions, and there was a smaller bloody sea supporting their feet. They actually trapped Yixian and surrounded him in the middle. In that case, this Star Lord seems to have been targeted by someone? Yixian was clearly surprised by the words of the Lord of the Blood Sea, but after pondering for a moment, he immediately understood. Since the matter from before had already been exposed, it was only natural for people to be concerned about it after the news spread. After all, other than the threat he represented, Yixian had a bloodline secret that could immediately cause his cultivation to rise by an entire realm after using it. The technique was also very coveted. According to this speculation, he was now being targeted by quite a number of universe masters, and this group of fellows had most likely reached some kind of agreement in secret. Blood Sea Master's words proved this point. He must have used some kind of secret technique to send out the news of Yixian's arrival. The other universe masters would be here soon. At that time, Yixian would most likely encounter an unprecedented crisis if they were to be surrounded. Although he had the interstellar coordinate jumping ability, if multiple universe masters were to attack him at the same time, they might interfere with this jumping ability. This was a risk that Yixian could not and did not want to take. That was why he had to get rid of Blood Sea Master as soon as possible and escape before the other universe masters arrived. The Lord of the Blood Sea is only SOSO. How disappointing. Since that's the case, it's time for everything to end. Boom! A disdainful and contemptuous voice came from Bao Yuan's mouth. The next moment, he rushed out with a shake of his shoulders. His speed was so fast that it made one's hair stand on end. In the blink of an eye, he was beside the blood demonic god. Swish! At the same time, a few 9-colored flames rushed out from within Yixian's body. They expanded in the wind, and in the blink of an eye, they transformed into a few multicolored endless seas of fire that surrounded the 5 blood-colored demon gods that were surrounding him. They separated. The next moment, Bao Yuan rushed toward one of the blood demonic gods and punched out. Pung! What happened next was as expected. A huge roar came from the void space. At this very moment, Blood Sea Master, who had transformed into a bloody demonic god, had dropped to the 4th stage universe master level. Facing Bao Yuan, who had the combat power of a 7th stage universe master level, he didn't even have the chance to wail in agony. His huge body exploded. In the blink of an eye, his huge and terrifying 7-colored body exploded into a brilliant bloody mist and spread out. Xiao! After ending all this, Bao Yuan waved his hand, and a boundless formless force rolled out from his body and covered an area of tens of millions of miles. The bloody mist that had just spread out was swept up and absorbed into his body. Then it was immediately sent into Shenong Cauldron by Yixian to start the blood essence condensation. This was only one of the bodies of Blood Sea Master. There were still 4 more. Yixian did not stop. His huge body disappeared from the spot and appeared behind the 2nd blood demonic god in the blink of an eye. Similarly, he punched out a simple punch. Then he waved his hand and absorbed the blood essence of the blood demonic god that had exploded into his body. In the blink of an eye, only 3 of the 5 blood demonic gods with huge bodies were left. Seeing Yixian so fierce, the 3 blood demonic gods finally showed signs of panic and fear. Without saying a word, they turned around and tried to escape. One of the blood-colored demon gods seemed to be testing the waters as it charged directly into the 9-colored sea of fire that was trapping it behind. Screech! Almost at the same time, an incomparably mournful howl sounded. The huge body of the blood demonic god, under the burning of the 9-colored flames of Shunnong, was like ice and snow that had encountered the scorching sun. In an instant it was in endless discomfort. In the shrill howl it completely melted and disappeared. This scene was too horrifying. The other 2 blood demonic gods were so scared that they were stunned on the spot. They did not dare to move at all. Yixian, on the other hand, didn't have any intention of stopping. His terrifying figure flashed twice in a row, and in a short span of 2 breaths, he arrived at the side of the 2 blood-colored demons and blasted them apart with a single punch. Xiao. After everything was over, Yixian waved his hand. The 9-colored flames in the surrounding void instantly turned into a wisp of flame and rushed into his body. Following that, as he waved his hand again, the blood demonic god sea that was torn into pieces in the void was all wrapped up by an invisible force and absorbed into Yixian's body. Immediately, he sent it to Shunnong Cauldron to start the blood essence condensation. At this point, he finally had 3 pieces of blood essence of Universe Masters in his hands. He was already more than halfway there. He only needed 2 more pieces to ensure that he would be able to obtain a level 27 Supreme Treasure Pill. Time is of the essence. I don't know how many Universe Masters have been summoned by Bloodsea Master, but at least there is definitely more than one. I can't take too many risks. For now, it's better to leave as soon as possible. After doing all of this, as Yixian softly muttered, he immediately activated the interstellar coordinate jump ability attached to the system within his body. This time, the coordinate jump point he locked onto was not near the Source Nest planet's base camp. Instead, it was near the Source Nest star that nurtured his most powerful body. Chapter 4485. Not long after Yixian left, in less than 2 hours, 6 figures of varying sizes appeared from different directions around the Bloodsea Forbidden area. However, their entire bodies were shrouded in a layer of fog. Dim light and shadows continuously shot over. They were 6 Universe Masters, and none of them were weak. They were all above level 5 of this realm. After rushing over, they didn't hesitate and plunged headlong into the forbidden area of Bloodsea. Among the 6 of them, there was even a terrifying being who was a Universe Master at Pinnacle level 9, which meant that he was a great being at half-step Universe Supreme level. These 6 beings could be said to be extremely powerful, but they had all received a secret message from Bloodsea Master. They rushed over. They were all from intermediate and even advanced supreme forbidden areas in the surrounding star fields. However, at that moment, all 6 of them were shrouded in a layer of fog, so it was impossible to tell where they came from. The reason why they came together wasn't just because of Yixian's brutal slaughter. It had already aroused their vigilance, and it could even be said that they felt threatened. As powerful Universe Masters, if it was only because of this, they wouldn't have bothered with the business of others. Their real target was the bloodline technique of 9 transformation devil ape, which was in Yixian's possession. Out of greed, these 6 powerful Universe Masters rushed over as soon as they received the message from Bloodsea Master. However, they were still one step too late. After all, the distance was too far. By the time they arrived, Yixian had already left. At that moment, the 6 Universe Masters carried out a round of investigation, but they didn't find any clues. They couldn't even find a trace of where that ferocious space-raging ape had gone. Such an outcome seemed to be within their expectations. Feeling disheartened, the 6 powerful Universe Masters all sank into a short period of silence. Shortly after, a series of low and deep voices reverberated one after another. Our prey seems to be extremely cunning. I'm afraid he won't be so easy to deal with. That's right. Previously, in the forbidden area of Crystal Rainbow, because the distance was too far, and we weren't prepared beforehand, we waited for him to leave for 6 hours before we arrived. In the end, we couldn't find any trace of him, and we didn't even know where he went. It's the same this time. Today we were prepared and we received the message from Bloodsea Master. In less than 2 hours we arrived, but he was already gone. When the Lord of the Bloodsea sent the message, he clearly hadn't died yet. In other words, in less than 2 hours, not only did this savage ape kill the Lord of the Bloodsea with lightning speed, He even left calmly. In such a short time, no matter how powerful his spatial secret technique is, it's impossible for him to not leave behind any traces at all. From this, it can be seen that aside from the enviable bloodline secret technique that can instantly raise one's cultivation by a whole realm, this savage ape most likely he also possesses a secret technique that allows him to travel a great distance in a short time, or even within a breath. Besides, I'm afraid he's not just a 6th-level universe master. Bloodsea Master was originally a great being at 6th-level universe master, and due to the uniqueness of his original body being a vast bloody ocean, his true combat power is at 6th-level universe master level. His true power is comparable to that of a level 7 universe lord. Even so, he was still killed by this raging ape in a short period of time. From this, we can infer that this raging ape's true combat power is at least at the 7th-level universe master level. Besides, he most likely has some kind of powerful killing technique. Luo Feng muttered. Everyone, we have to be on high alert. This is a late-stage universe lord, and he's even stronger than some of us. If we're blocked by him alone again, I'm afraid we won't be able to wait for the others to arrive. More importantly, after this battle with Bloodsea Master's death, he'll definitely search the soul of the remnant soul. This way we'll be out in the open and he'll be on high alert. He might even know that other than Bloodsea Master, we'll be out in the open. Who else is plotting against him? I don't know why, but I suddenly have a bad feeling. When the 6 universe masters that secretly remembered Yixian were gathered in the Bloodsea Forbidden area that was already empty, Yixian had already used the interstellar coordinate jump ability that came with the system title of the Devouring system in his body. In an instant, he crossed the distance of the endless void space and returned to the depths of the primordial star field, near the origin nest star that nurtured his most powerful body. Within the primordial star field, there were only 2 interstellar coordinate jump points imprinted by Yixian. One was in the universe void space near the origin nest base camp, and the other was near the origin nest star that nurtured his most powerful body. At that moment, with a faint flash of light, Yixian's body appeared instantly, but he was no longer in the 9th change of demon ape form, which was 60 million miles in size. Instead, he returned to his original size of 30 meters. Of course, his power level dropped back to that of a level 5 universe knight. After leaving the forbidden area of Bloodsea with ease, Yixian was completely relieved, but there was an inexplicable feeling of uneasiness in his heart. At that moment he thought of Yingtai again, and because of that, he thought of Xingbo, who was known as the pioneer of the human race's technology. The swallowing system in his body was created by Xingbo. Back then, when Yixian was still fighting in the 3 main planes of the starry sky and his own cultivation was far from reaching his current level, Yixian had always been amazed and shocked by the strength of the devouring system, even to the extent of being overwhelmed with shock. But now, as he entered the primordial star field, his power was getting stronger and stronger, and this feeling of shock didn't diminish. Instead, it was stronger than before. In this primordial star field, even a universe master couldn't directly activate the interstellar coordinate jump ability of the system in his body, and instantly cross the endless void space to arrive at the location where the interstellar coordinate was imprinted. That showed how powerful the swallowing system was. Other than being powerful, what Yixian felt more strongly about was, in fact, its mystery. Xingbo, who was known as the pioneer of the human race's technology, was actually able to create such a heaven-defying thing. Then what level was his own power level? In other words, if Xingbo was really so powerful, how could he be betrayed by Di and then killed? If everything was fake, if Yingtai's divine instinct was right, then what was Xingbo's purpose and intention for doing all this? Was it really like what the swallowing system said, just to select and cultivate the strongest elites of the human race? Chapter 4486. After some hesitation, Yixian could only sigh and shake his head. He decided not to think about it for the time being. He decided to search the remnant soul of Bloodsea Master first. Xiu. With a sway of his body, a weak sound of something breaking through the air rang out. Yixian circled around the source star that nurtured his strongest clone, and confirmed that everything was the same as before. There was no abnormality. After that, he heaved a sigh of relief and directly flashed forward at full speed. In just a short period of half a day, he saw an abandoned star in the void of the universe ahead. Without hesitation, he entered the core of the star and sat down cross-legged. He started the soul search immediately, and the results were out. Within the remnant soul of Blood Sea Master, there was indeed everything that Yixian wanted. On the one hand, it was related to the universe masters from other intermediate supreme forbidden lands. They had already set their eyes on him and formed an alliance within their small circle. Blood Sea Master wasn't originally a member of this small circle, but because he was alone, he was determined by the close to 10 universe masters in the small circle to be the target of the attack of the ferocious ape. Therefore, those fellows informed the Lord of the Blood Sea of this matter, which could be considered as roping him in. They also gave him a promise that if the Lord of the Blood Sea of meritorious service in this matter, they would obtain a powerful secret technique that could raise one's cultivation base after the ferocious ape was ambushed. He would have a share. The Lord of the Blood Sea had indeed sent out the message at the first possible moment. Unfortunately, he still underestimated Yixian's strength and ended up being killed. After he was killed, his remnant soul was searched by Yixian, and all the universe masters in the small circle were completely exposed to Yixian. His remnant soul had detailed information about which supreme forbidden lands these universe masters came from, what their power levels were, and what the basic situation of the supreme forbidden lands were. Besides, as a powerful universe master, Blood Sea Master had a much better understanding of all the supreme forbidden lands and supreme starfields surrounding the two sides of Milky Way starfield. Yixian couldn't compare to him. Now all of this was seen through by Yixian. To him this was definitely a big gain. The information he obtained was very important for his next move. In addition, through the remnant soul of the Lord of the Blood Sea, Yixian had another great harvest. The Lord of the Blood Sea had transformed into a sea of blood, and any changes could be as small as a drop of blood when it was small, and as large as a star field when it was large. The profound mysteries of the secret technique. For all of this, the remnant souls in the sea of blood had detailed information. After Yixian copied it, he directly threw it to the devouring system in his body, and immediately had the system use it with his own 9 transformations Devil-Ape Bloodline secret technique. Combine and deduce. After completing all of this, Yixian let out a long breath and sank his mind into it. He pushed the terrifying divine sense of a universe master to the limit and cooperated with the deduction. With the help of Yixian's powerful spirit, it only took 2 days for everything to be completed. Yixian had already comprehended the bloodline technique of the 9 demon ape transformation, and after combining it with Blood Sea Master's Blood Sea technique, it finally reached perfection. Yixian had been unhappy with the fact that he couldn't control the size of his body when he was in the bloodline technique state. But it was completely solved. He decided to try it out immediately. Shio! A faint sound of air breaking was heard. With excitement in his heart, Yixian rushed out of the abandoned star and into the universe void space outside. At this moment, he was in the state of activating the bloodline technique of the 9 demon ape transformation, but he hadn't activated it yet. His body was 30 meters tall, and his power was at the 5th level of Universe Night. 9 demon ape transformation. 9 demon ape transformation. Almost at the next moment, a roar was heard, and a huge explosion was heard from within the body of the space raging ape. Within a breath's time, his body had completely expanded, and his speed was so fast that it made one's hair stand on end. The power in his body was surging like a roaring river, and his limbs and bones were surging with endless ferocity. Unknowingly, there was an unimaginably majestic and terrifying aura. Within half a breath's time, the raging ape's originally 30 meters tall body had expanded to 30 billion meters tall at an extremely fast speed, which was 60 million miles tall. Besides, as his body expanded, the aura of the raging ape's cultivation rose at the same time. From a 6th-level Universe Knight previously, it had become a 6th-level Universe Master in the blink of an eye. In the next moment, with a thought from Yixian, his terrifying figure, which was originally 60 million kilometers long, instantly shrank until it was about 3 meters tall. Only then did it stop. In fact, this wasn't the limit. If Yixian wanted to, he could even shrink to the size of a drop of blood. However, although his body had changed so much at this moment, he was only 30 meters tall, and the aura of the space-raging ape was still that of a 6th-level Universe Master. It didn't fall because of the shrinking of his body. However, under the terrifying size of his 60 million miles tall body, the level 1 combat power that was boosted by the endless and majestic aura had disappeared. However, this didn't matter at all. In comparison, Yixian felt that the convenience brought about by his current body size was more practical and substantial. Overjoyed, he immediately changed his mind again. This time it was to enlarge. Within a breath's time, his body had shrunk to a height of 30 meters. In an instant, he expanded at an extremely fast speed. He didn't stop even when he was 60 million miles tall. It was only when he expanded to an area of several billion miles, like a small star sector, that Yixian changed his mind. When he changed his mind, he stopped. However, this still wasn't the limit. If he wanted to, he could continue to expand until he was comparable to a large star sector. In this way, although he couldn't compare to the size of the complete void tortoise, there wasn't much of a difference. This isn't the limit of the bloodline power that has reached the perfect state. There are other changes. As Yixian murmured softly, with a change of mind, his terrifying body, which had a radius of several billion miles, changed again in an instant. This time Yixian changed his own form. From a terrifyingly large space-raging ape, he changed into a vast and boundless sea of blood. Immediately after, with another change of mind, this vast sea of blood, which was like a small star sector, instantly shrank at an extremely fast speed. It only stopped when it was reduced to a tiny drop of crimson blood. This was truly a myriad of changes. To Yixian, this was simply too significant. In the future, if it was necessary, he could change his body size at will. He could even directly evolve into a crimson sea of blood of the same size as he wanted. This was simply a great contribution to concealing his origin and background. Chapter 4487. That's not right. The Blood Sea technique obtained from the remnant soul of Blood Sea Master is not complete. Suddenly, Yixian had a flash of inspiration. After pondering for a while, he immediately frowned. After all, what was left behind was only a remnant soul. Or perhaps, even the master of the Blood Sea himself hasn't fully comprehended the Blood Sea secret technique. Otherwise, the outcome of this battle would have been different. At this point, Yixian could not help but feel a chill run down his spine, and a sense of relief welled up in his heart. If there were no surprises, the truth should be the latter. In other words, the Lord of the Blood Sea himself hadn't comprehended the Blood Sea secret technique to the extreme. During the previous battle, Blood Sea Master had been severely injured by Yixian, and after his power had dropped to 4th level Universe Master, he had transformed the entire vast Blood Sea into 5 blood-red shadows. Afterward, these 5 blood-red shadows had all been destroyed by Yixian one by one. At that time, Yixian had not thought much about it, as the 5 blood-red shadows had all been trapped by his Shun Nong 9-colored flame. They had been separated from one another, so there was no way for them to form an encirclement. Under such circumstances, even if there were 50 of them, it would be meaningless, let alone 5. They would all be destroyed by Yixian one by one, but now that he thought about it, Yixian suddenly realized that the 5 blood-colored demonic shadows were all at the 4th level of the Universe Master level. In other words, this kind of Blood Sea secret technique could create an avatar, and the avatar's combat power wouldn't be weaker than his own. This was already extremely frightening. Although the number of Blood Sea bodies created by this technique could not be too many, otherwise, it would be practically invincible. For example, the Lord of the Blood Sea had only created 5 clones back then, including one of his original bodies. However, even if there were only 5 bodies, if Yixian had not used Shun Nong 9-colored flame to trap them separately but had gathered them together, and their power had not dropped from before then, the situation that Yixian had faced at that time was that he had been besieged by 5 6th-level Universe Masters. If that had been the case, the final outcome of this battle was obvious. This was also why Yixian still felt a sense of lingering fear when he thought about it now. Fortunately, the Lord of the Blood Sea did not use this secret technique in the beginning. This was probably because he had underestimated his opponent. On the other hand, it was because he had not fully comprehended the power of the Blood Sea secret technique. When he used it, there would be some problems. There would be a slight price to pay. Thus, he had not performed it at the very beginning. Instead, it was like a life-saving technique, and he had only performed it at the very last moment when he had to put his life on the line. No wonder Blood Sea Master, who is all alone and poses a certain threat, has been hibernating in the forbidden land of Blood Sea all this while. The Universe Masters in the surrounding forbidden lands have not attacked him. After thinking for a while, Yixian finally understood the reason and could not help but sigh. It seems that this level of power of the Blood Sea technique is known by all the universe masters in the surrounding Forbidden Lands, and they are quite fearful of it. That is why they have not attacked him. After saying this, Yi Xian did not say anything else. With a flash of his body, he transformed into the Blood Sea again. Shortly after, from 3 different directions of this vast Blood Sea, 3 gigantic figures rose from the Blood Sea. These were the 3 demon bodies of the ancient demon ape. One was a body of flesh and blood, which was the space-raging ape. The other was a skeleton body without any flesh and blood. It was merely a purplish-gold skeleton that exuded an endless amount of ferocious aura. It was extremely ferocious. The other was a body of black fog. Although it was also in the form of a raging ape, its body was covered in black fog. Even its pair of eyes were merely 2 rays of purple light. It was extremely eerie. These 3 demon bodies in the complete form of the ancient demon ape were a trinity, and their backs seemed to be glued together. However, although Yi Xian had made use of the Blood Sea technique to divide the 3 demon bodies of the ancient demon ape into 3 bodies of the Blood Sea, the cultivation level of these 3 bodies had all dropped to that of a 3rd-level universe master. Now, he was in the state of the 9th transformation of the 9 changes of demon ape. If this experiment was successful, these 3 demon ape bodies should all have the cultivation level of a 6th-level universe master. Splitting one into 3 without any change in cultivation level was akin to suddenly having 2 more copies of himself, and they could join forces with the original body to fight against the enemy. This way, the level of power of the Blood Sea technique was meaningful, and it was so significant that it was shocking. But now, although he had completed the process of splitting one into 3, including the original body, the cultivation level of the 3 bodies had all dropped to that of a 3rd-level universe master. This was meaningless. Not only was it meaningless, but it was also asking for trouble. Just as I expected, Blood Sea Master didn't deduce this level of power of the Blood Sea technique to the extreme. Even when I merged it into the bloodline technique of the 9 changes of Demon Ape, the fusion wasn't perfect and comprehensive. After a test, Yi Xian was finally sure of everything. As he murmured to himself, he was instantly freed from this state. The 3 demon bodies that had just been divided merged into one, and then they merged into the Blood Sea. Finally, the Blood Sea shook and disappeared, and the body of the space-raging ape appeared. It was about 3 feet tall, and the aura emanating from its body returned to that of a 6th-level universe master. Even Blood Sea Master himself hasn't fully comprehended this level of power of the Blood Sea technique, said Yi Xian. Hence, the relevant information and profound meanings obtained from his remnant soul are meaningless. I can only rely on myself to deduce it bit by bit. At this point, Yi Xian's face showed a hint of helplessness. He shook his head and smiled bitterly. This isn't as simple as simply merging the profound meanings he comprehended with the bloodline technique of the 9 changes of Demon Ape. It requires a lot of time. And now, the devouring system in my body is still trying to deduce the perfect formula of the level 27 treasure pill. This matter can't be delayed for too long. After all, I already have 4 drops of Universe Master Blood Essence that are used to make the level 27 treasure pill. At this point, Yi Xian sighed faintly. It seems that I can only wait for the perfect formula of the level 27 treasure pill to be deduced before I deal with this matter. As for now, at this point, Yi Xian's eyes flashed with a dark light, and an incomparably cold murderous aura burst out from his body. Even the soft mutterings in his mouth revealed an endless chill. Those universe masters still want to hunt down this star master. This is simply too much. This is unforgivable. Previously it was fine if I didn't know, but now that I know about this matter, I even know the origins and details of all the participants. Then it's time for this Star Lord to launch a counterattack. Chapter 4488. From the remnant soul of Blood Sea Master, Luo Feng had found that there were a total of 11 universe masters who had set their eyes on the ferocious ape. They had secretly formed an alliance and had roughly discussed the distribution of benefits after the ferocious ape was captured. Of course, what they were most interested in was Bao Yuan's bloodline technique, which could forcibly increase one's level of cultivation in a short period of time. Other than that, there was also the secret behind Bao Yuan's rapid increase in power. According to the agreement of these 11 fellows, after Bao Yuan was captured, the 11 universe masters, as long as they contributed, would be able to share these secrets. And this was under the circumstance that they didn't even know that Bao Yuan had a large number of treasures, such as Shenong Cauldron. If they had known, the distribution of benefits wouldn't have been so simple. However, among these 11 Universe Masters, Blood Sea Master had already been annihilated, so there were only 10 left. Of these 10 Universe Masters, 4 were from 3 senior Forbidden Lands, and they had more than one Universe Supreme backing them up. Yixian didn't intend to provoke them for now. He would keep them in mind first. As for the other 6 Universe Masters, they were all from intermediate Forbidden Lands. Although they were more or less acquainted with 1 or 2 Universe Supreme Masters, since they weren't subordinates, Yixian wouldn't consider them at all. He decided to take turns visiting these 6 Universe Masters. If he could find a chance to kill them, that would be the best, but if he couldn't kill them, he would at least go to their base camp and make a scene to express his attitude. He, Bao Yuan, wasn't someone to be trifled with. If he had any ill intentions, he'd better think twice. Measure. Of course, among the 4 Universe Masters, the first 2 he visited were already listed by Yixian as targets that he had to kill. He already had 3 pieces of blood essence of Universe Masters. Refining a level 27 Supreme Treasure Pill required at least 5 pieces of blood essence of Universe Masters, and now he only had 2 pieces left. These 2 pills could only be obtained from the first 2 targets. This was because the first target had a higher chance of successfully killing them if they were caught off guard. And later on, because there were already people in trouble, they would all be on high alert. By then it would be impossible to successfully kill them. Yixian's first target was a space rat. The strength of this space rat was also extraordinary. It had already reached the 5th level of the Universe Master. Even the current Yixian, under the 9th transformation of the demonic ape, had a 6th level battle prowess. In addition to Pang Da's terrifying fleshly body that was 60 million kilometers long. Plus, killing it, there was a possibility of accidents happening, and there was a possibility that it could escape in the end. Xiu! A sharp piercing sound rang out as Yixian's figure transformed into a ray of light that shot out like lightning. In an instant, he charged into an intermediate level forbidden area. Originally, there were 2 Universe Masters guarding this place, but the other one had gone out not long ago for some reason, so the only one guarding this intermediate Starry Sky Forbidden Land was that 5th-tier space rat. Li! Almost as soon as Yixian's figure charged into the forbidden area of space, the space weasel discovered him. There was an earth-shattering roar, and then a body rushed out from a giant star of ferocious beasts. It looked like a rat and a wolf. It looked a little weird, but its body was 30 million feet long, and the power it exuded was no joke. It was definitely a level 5 Universe Master. Yixian kept his body at 30 feet tall. He activated the bloodline in his body and turned into a space-raging ape. His power was at level 6 Universe Master. The reason why Yixian didn't directly enter the 9th transformation and shrink his body to a size of around 3 meters to launch a sneak attack was because Yixian didn't want to easily expose this ability. Only at critical moments in the future would he be able to achieve the best effect. Right now, seeing that the main character had already appeared and was definitely the same as the Lord of the Blood Sea back then, Yixian didn't hold back anymore. He raised his head and roared. 9 transformations of the demonic ape. 9th transformation. The next moment there was a loud roar, and there was a huge explosion in the space-raging ape's body. Within a breath, its body had completely expanded, and its speed was so fast that it made one's hair stand on end. The power in its body was rolling like a roaring river, and its limbs and bones were surging with endless ferocity. Unknowingly, there was an unimaginably majestic and terrifying power spreading out within half a breath. The raging ape's body, which was originally 30 feet tall, expanded to 30 billion feet at an extremely fast speed, which was 60 million miles long. Besides, as its body expanded, the power of the raging ape's cultivation rose at the same time. It went from level 6 Universe Knight to level 6 Universe Master in the blink of an eye. You're just a space rat, yet you can cultivate to such a level, said Yixian. You have the power of a pinnacle middle stage Universe Master. That's rare and commendable. However, today you can't escape death. Hong! Bao Yuan's divine sense voice came out of his mouth. In the next instant before he finished speaking, his shoulders shook, and his figure had already rushed out. His speed was so fast that it made one's hair stand on end. In the blink of an eye, he was already beside the space weasel. Xiao! At the same time, a 9-colored flame rushed out of Yixian's body. The flame swelled with the wind, and in the blink of an eye, it had already transformed into a boundless sea of flames with 9 colors. It surrounded the space rat from all directions, and directly cut off its escape route. Since the sea of fire has appeared, there's no more suspense about your death. As the 9-colored sea of fire formed and surrounded the space rat, Yixian's heart, which had been hanging in his throat, finally settled down. This was a mid-stage universe lord at the 5th step. Adding on the fact that he was already well aware of Yixian's terrifying battle prowess, if he was on guard, even if Yixian could catch up to him, it would still take him a certain amount of time. The key was that he didn't have that time now. More powerful universe masters could come at any time. He had to kill the enemy as soon as possible. The next moment, the raging ape rushed toward the space trapped in the sea of fire and punched. Pung! There was no suspense in what happened next. A huge explosion rang out from the void. The space rat didn't even have the chance to cry out before its huge body exploded with a loud bang. In the blink of an eye, its huge and terrifying body exploded into a brilliant mist of blood and spread out. Xiao! After everything was over, the raging ape waved his hand, and an incomparably majestic, formless force rolled out of his body and covered an area of 10 million miles. Chapter 4489. For now, Yixian's heart was instantly filled with incomparable joy, as he rushed out of the intermediate level forbidden area guarded by the space rat. This was the blood essence of Universe Lord that could only be condensed from the flesh and blood of Universe Masters. Every single one of them was extremely precious. And now, Yixian had unknowingly obtained 4 of them. He was only 1 more away from the minimum requirement of 5 to create a level 27 Supreme Treasure Pill. Every time he thought of this, he immediately felt a sense of relief in his heart. With Yixian's current level of cultivation, killing a Universe Master was a piece of cake. He didn't have to worry about level 27 Supreme Treasure Pills anymore. However, when he thought of the level 28 Almighty Pellet, a bitter smile appeared on his face again, revealing a deep sense of helplessness. Fortunately, there were only 2 types of treasure pills after the level 27 treasure pill. Level 28 was for breaking through to the primordial great being. Level 29 was for breaking through to the primordial great being. Maybe there was still the so-called level 30 Supreme Treasure Pill, which was for breaking through to the level of the headless infant corpse and the primeval heaven's eye. But even if he counted the level 30 Supreme Treasure Pills, there were only 3 types of Supreme Pills to be condensed after level 27 Supreme Treasure Pills. No matter how difficult it was, the end of this path of cultivation wouldn't be too far away. 4 drops of blood essence of Universe Lord now. I'm only 1 away from being able to create a level 27 Universe Lord Treasure Pill. It seems like it's time for me to quickly improve my level of cultivation. As Yixian muttered to himself, he didn't hesitate anymore. He directly activated the interstellar coordinate jump ability of the system in his body. This time he locked onto the jump coordinates near the source nest star that nurtured his strongest body. Xiao! A faint sound of breaking through the air sounded, and the figure of the violent ape appeared. After turning its head to identify the direction, it instantly turned into a flash of light and blasted toward the abandoned star where it broke through last time. After a short while, Yixian arrived at his destination. With a flash of his body, he rushed directly into the core of the star. At the same time, in the intermediate Supreme Forbidden area where the space rat was guarding, less than 2 hours after Yixian left, several figures of different sizes, but their entire bodies were shrouded in a layer of fog, shot over one after another from different directions around the forbidden area. These few universe masters were the ones who had their eyes on Yixian's small circle. The few people who were rushing over were the ones who were the closest to them. The moment they arrived, the few universe masters didn't hesitate at all. They plunged headfirst into this intermediate supreme forbidden area and started a comprehensive search. As powerful universe masters, they wouldn't have bothered with such trivial matters. However, they had a common goal, which was to obtain the bloodline god art of 9 devil ape transformation, which was in Yixian's hands. Out of greed, these few powerful universe masters rushed over as soon as they received the news from the space rat. However, they were still 1 step too late. After all, the distance was too far. By the time they arrived, Yixian had already left. At this moment, after a round of investigation, they found no clues. They couldn't even find a trace of the ferocious space rat ape's whereabouts. This result made the few universe masters feel very frustrated. After a short moment of silence, a series of low godly consciousness voices were heard one after another. D***. He actually succeeded again. This time, this violent ape didn't even search the space rat's lair, and all the treasures and cultivation resources were left untouched. From this, it seems that he's already become vigilant, and after he succeeded, he fled at the first possible moment. It seems that he already knows about the existence of our little circle. D***. It must be Blood Ocean Master who leaked the news. That D*** idiot. We shouldn't have pulled him into our group. What should we do now? The ferocious ape is already on guard. If we want to scheme against him again, I'm afraid it will be even more difficult. Don't be discouraged. He will definitely strike again. No matter what the ferocious ape's motive is before this, whether it is undying emperors or universe knights, he has already killed more than 10 universe knights. And now he has only killed 4 universe masters. We still have at least 6 more chances. At the same time, in the core of the abandoned star where Yixian was cultivating in seclusion, shio, 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 along with the sound of air breaking, streaks of light shot out and hovered in front of Yixian. These were all the training resources that Yixian had taken out from the undying world within his body, including the 9-colored godly medicine and a large amount of other training resources, such as the all-evil origin liquid. They were all top-tier items, and they emitted a powerful aura that dazzled people. After doing all this, he activated the domain power of the Shennon Cauldron, and compressed all the training resources to the size of an infant's fist. With a wave of his hand, he swallowed them into his stomach. A new round of breakthroughs began at this moment. Hualala! In the next instant, the earth-shattering sound of chains rang out from within Yixian's body. This time there was only one shackle in his body, which was to be expected. Everything that followed was a walk in the park. Yixian activated the energy river that had just formed within his body, and began to circulate great circulatory cycles in all the meridians within his body, accumulating energy. In the blink of an eye, a few days passed. When all the energy had been refined, it only took one hit for the shackles that had appeared within his body to break apart. As the shackles completely broke apart, the anticipated system notification rang out in Yixian's mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host for breaking through to the next level of the Ancient Cave Void technique. Current level. Level 6 Universe Knight. Ding! Congratulations to the host for breaking through to the next level of the fleshly body. Current level. Level 6 Universe Knight. Level 6 Universe Knight. This breakthrough had undoubtedly increased Yixian's combat power by a large margin. After the previous breakthrough, his original body strength had been at level 5 Universe Knight. Once he activated the bloodline power of the ancient demon ape in his body, he could instantly reach level 6 Universe Knight. If he used the 9 changes of the demonic ape again and reached level 9, his combat power would immediately soar to level 6 Universe Knight. But now, after activating the bloodline power of the ancient demon ape in his body, Yixian would instantly possess the strength of a level 7 Universe Knight. This was already the late stage of this realm, and if he used the bloodline power of the 9 changes of the demonic ape again, he would directly enter level 7 Universe Knight. His pinnacle battle power would reach the level of a 7th stage Universe Master, which was also the level of the late stage Universe Master. If he were to include the terrifying power of blood essence within his body, which was 60 million miles long, he would reach the level of an 8th stage Universe Master. It could be said that the peak combat power that Yixian could achieve now was enough to ensure that he would be unscathed in a head-on battle with a level 9 Universe Knight who was a half-step Supreme Knight. Although it was highly likely that he would not be able to defeat his opponent, at least he would have nothing to fear. Chapter 4490. After a long time he calmed down and stood up. He stepped out of the mouth of the Shennon Cauldron, which was shrouded in 9-colored fog. Then he waved his hand and put the cauldron into his body. I'm already at the 7th level of the Aeon Lord realm, and my battle prowess is comparable to that of an 8th level Aeon Lord. Now, it's time for me to obtain the last drop of Ian Lord blood essence needed to refine a level 27 Supreme Treasure pill. With a cold gleam in his eyes, he didn't hesitate anymore. After he rushed out of the core of the abandoned star, he immediately accelerated. He rushed toward the supreme forbidden area surrounding the Milky Way star field in the distance. This was clearly the rhythm of changing places after every shot. To Yi Xian, the next target was of utmost importance. He already had 4 drops of Eternity Lord blood essence in his hands. If he could successfully kill the next target, then he would have 5 drops of Eternity Lord blood essence in his hands. That way, he would meet the minimum requirement of Eternity Lord blood essence needed to make a level 27 Supreme Treasure pill. At the same time, this hunt compared to the previous ones was likely to have the most variables. Previously, when he was hunting Blood Ocean Master, the 10 Universe Masters in the small circle who had their eyes on Yi Xian weren't sure if Yi Xian already knew about their existence. At most, they were just suspicious. But this time, after Yi Xian successfully killed the Space Weasel, the 9 Universe Masters in the small circle would definitely be sure that Yi Xian knew about their existence. Under such circumstances, they would definitely be more vigilant, and the next hunt would be more difficult than the previous one. Unfortunately, Yi Xian had no choice. He already had 4 drops of Eternity Lord blood essence in his hands. With one more, he would be considered to have completed his initial goal. Only then could he calm down and lie low for a while to find a place to deduce the perfect formula for a level 27 Supreme Treasure pill. No matter what, this hunt must succeed. Yi Xian subconsciously clenched his fists. He maintained the activation of the Devil Ape bloodline in his body, and transformed into the form of a 30-meter-tall starry sky berserk ape. He shot towards the distance at an extremely fast speed. This time his target was a Spacebug tribe member. Of the 9 Universe Masters in the small circle that had already targeted Yi Xian, there was only one from the Spacebug race. As Yi Xian fought more and more with this small circle, this Eternity Lord insectoid made Yi Xian feel more and more uneasy. The Spacebug race was very special. Basically, all of them had unique biological frequencies. When Yi Xian was in the state of activating the perfect oscillation secret technique, ordinary human experts in space beasts would have a hard time discovering his existence. However, the space insectoids, whose cultivation was on par with Yi Xian, were not included in this list. It could be said that if Yi Xian had not directly activated the interstellar coordinate jump ability attached to the system in his body after killing the Lord of the Blood Sea and the Space Weasel, he would have left without leaving a trace. Then, with the existence of this Eternity Lord insectoid, it was very likely that they would be able to find some clues after a careful search and pursuit. From there, they would be able to locate Yi Xian's whereabouts. In fact, in addition to the unique biological frequencies with different powers that were all extremely strange and could be said to be impossible to guard against, the Spacebug race also had different bloodlines, which gave them all kinds of special bloodline abilities and abilities. If in the midst of a battle, the moment these mysterious abilities were suddenly activated, the threat that they would pose to Yi Xian was absolutely not to be underestimated. Therefore, after thinking for a while, Yi Xian had decided to target this Eternity Lord insectoid. According to the information obtained from the remnant soul of the Lord of the Blood Sea, the power of this Spacebug race was at the 6th level Universe Master level, which was the same as the Space Weasel that Yi Xian had previously killed. However, even though they had yet to meet face to face, Yi Xian was already mentally prepared. He had long since realized that this 6th level Eternity Lord insectoid would not be as easy to deal with as the Space Weasel. Unfortunately, other than this 6th level insectoid, the other 8 Universe Masters in this small circle were all beings at the 7th level or above. Even with Yi Xian's current power, it would be slightly difficult for him to hunt them down. At least, it would not be easier than killing this 6th level insectoid. Therefore, he had no choice but to set his eyes on this 6th level insectoid. The only thing that comforted Yi Xian was that in the intermediate supreme forbidden area where this 6th level insectoid resided, he was also the only Universe Master. However, there were quite a number of Universe Knights below the level of Universe Master. A total of 8 of them. In fact, even now, Universe Knights were still the targets of Yi Xian's hunting, because the blood essence of Universe Knights could be used to refine a level 26 Eternity Lord treasure pill. Although Yi Xian still had 12 Eternity Lord treasure pills in his possession, which was enough for the time being, But this was a top-grade Universe Master level treasure pill. Who would complain about having too many top-grade treasure pills? Besides, other than using them to refine a level 26 Eternity Lord treasure pill, Yixian could also use the blood essence of Universe Knights as top-grade cultivation resources. After swallowing them, they could be used to achieve breakthroughs in one's cultivation level. Therefore, as long as there was a chance, he would still hunt down Universe Knights without hesitation if he encountered one. However, in fact, in the previous 2 hunts, although he had obtained 2 Eternity Lord blood essences, he had not obtained any Universe Knight blood essences. There were no Universe Knights on Blood Sea Master's side at all. The entire forbidden area of Blood Sea was empty, and he was the only one who was alone. As for the supreme forbidden area where the Space Weasel resided, although there were 4 Universe Knights, there was simply no time for Yixian to make a move on this Universe Knight, so he could only wring his hands and give up. This time his target was the same. Although there were as many as 8 Universe Knights in the intermediate supreme forbidden area where this 6th grade Bug Clan member resided, to Yixian, they were completely meaningless. His only goal was to successfully kill this 6th grade Bug Clan member, then take advantage of the fact that the other 8 Universe Lords in the small circle had yet to arrive to quickly escape as far as he could. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. The intermediate supreme forbidden area where this 6th grade Bug Clan member resided was located in the far right side of the border area of Milky Way star field. Currently, Yixian had yet to enter the state of the 9th transformation, so his speed was not at its peak, and it took him half a month to arrive. This was what it should be. The reason for this was that Yixian did it on purpose. After all, the longer he delayed, the lower the possibility of encountering variables. Xiu. Chapter 4491. Xiu. Not long after, a 6th-level Undying level beast rushed out of the forbidden land in front of him. It transformed into a beam of light and shot toward the left. Almost as soon as his figure appeared, Yixian had already set his eyes on this forbidden area's fierce beast. However, he didn't immediately make a move and continued to lie dormant. After all, it was only an ordinary Undying level beast. With Yixian's speed, he could easily catch up with it even if he ran for another 10 days or half a month. After half a day, there was no longer any movement at the edge of the forbidden area. Only then did Yixian relax. Without any hesitation, his figure flashed as he chased after the fierce beast from the forbidden area. In less than half an incense stick of time, at the end of the void in front of him, the figure of the fierce beast of the forbidden area appeared. As if sensing something, he subconsciously turned his head to look. When the figure of the starry sky ferocious ape entered its line of sight and concealed a powerful aura that was thick and boundless like the sky, the expression of the ferocious beast in the forbidden grounds changed greatly. It raised its head and roared before turning around and fleeing towards the right. Speed was much faster than before. It had improved tremendously. Unfortunately, due to the limitations of his cultivation base, no matter how much his speed increased, it was completely meaningless to Yixian. Even if the cultivation base he displayed right now was only at the 6th level of the Universe Sovereign Realm. Hung! With just one punch, the ferocious beast of the Forbidden Land turned into a cloud of blood mist and dispersed. This was only an ordinary Undying level beast. At Yixian's current level, he couldn't even be bothered to collect the blood and flesh of the Undying level beast. Xiu! With a thought, an invisible force shot out and pulled out a wisp of soul from the blood and flesh of the Undying level beast. He immediately started to search the soul. The final result made Yixian feel completely relieved. The space bug with the power of a 6th level Universe Master was indeed in the Forbidden Land in front of him. Besides, the other 8 Universe Knight level beasts in the Forbidden Land were also there. However, other than that, there were no other abnormalities in the Forbidden Land. Of course, there could be abnormalities or even ambushes. However, the level of this Forbidden Land beast was too low, so it wasn't qualified to know. After all, Yixian's target was the Master of the Universe, the strongest person in this forbidden area. As for the beast that he had searched the soul of, it was only an ordinary Undying beast. The difference in level between the two was too great. However, Yixian had no other choice. Hesitation was not his style. After pondering for a while, he quickly turned around, transformed into a ray of light, and shot towards the direction he came from. After about half an incense stick of time, the edge of the intermediate supreme forbidden area once again appeared in front of him. Yixian Devin. Howl. 9 changes of demon ape. 9th change. As soon as he charged into this forbidden area, Yixian directly shot towards the right. At the same time, a roar came from his mouth, and a huge explosion sounded out from the starry sky berserk ape's body. In the blink of an eye, its body, which was originally only 30 meters tall, grew in size in less than a breath's time. His speed was swift to the point it caused one's hair to stand on end while the energy within his body surged like a roaring river. His limbs and bones surged with boundless ferocity, while an unimaginably powerful and terrifying aura effused out from within him. At the same time, the aura of cultivation exuded from the body of Raging Ape soared rapidly. In the blink of an eye, Raging Ape had soared from a level 7 Universe Knight to a level 7 Universe Master. 7th level Universe Master. This was a late-stage Universe Master. In the blink of an eye, as the terrifying pressure of a late Eternity Lord spread out and enveloped the entire vast forbidden area, countless cries rang out from the various great beast stars in the distance, as if responding to the pressure. Almost subconsciously, all the beasts in the Forbidden Land crouched on the ground, not daring to move at all. Even the 8 Universe Knight level ferocious beasts had retreated to the depths of their caves and lairs, trembling in fear. In front of a powerful late-stage Eternity Lord, they didn't even dare to think about fleeing. Not to mention, in this intermediate Supreme Forbidden area, there was a powerful space bug of the same level that had also reached the 6th level of the Eternal Lord realm. From a certain point of view, if a battle were to break out, it would be hard to say who would emerge victorious in the end. At this moment, as his body grew and his cultivation soared, Yixian's speed increased by several times. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of the hibernating 6th level bug. He originally didn't know where the hibernating 6th level bug was, and this space bug was very good at hiding its aura. It wasn't any weaker than Yixian's perfect oscillation spiritual power technique. Even if he used his divine sense to search, he might not find anything. However, killing the immortal stage ferocious beast solved this problem, allowing Yixian to know the location of his target's lair before he even entered this intermediate level forbidden area. In fact, this was one of the reasons why Yixian didn't find it troublesome and killed an undying level beast to search its soul. Come out. You can't hide. Hong. Following the arrival of the violent ape, Yixian's voice sounded out with his divine sense. In the next moment, the violent ape's shoulders shook and its body instantly charged out. Its speed was so fast that it caused one's hair to stand on end. In the blink of an eye, it had already arrived in front of the star. Xiao. The next moment, a 9-colored flame rushed out of Bao Yuan's body. The flame expanded with the wind, and in the blink of an eye, it turned into an endless 9-colored sea of fire. It enveloped the gigantic star in front of it, and cut off the escape route of that bug. The next moment, Bao Yuan rushed toward the star trapped in the sea of fire and punched. There was no suspense in what happened next. Bam! A huge rumbling sound rang out from the void, and the entire huge star exploded in an instant. Amidst the shattered star fragments that filled the sky, one could clearly see a black bug with a gigantic body. Under Yixian's terrifying power this time, its body completely exploded into a black mist of blood and spread out. Xiao. Seeing this scene, Yixian's heart relaxed, and a look of ecstasy immediately appeared on his face. Without any hesitation, Bao Yuan immediately waved his hand, and an incomparably majestic and invisible force swept out from his body, enveloping a radius of tens of thousands of miles. The boundless blood mist that had just spread out was all swept up. After being absorbed into his body, Yixian immediately sent it into the Shen Nong cauldron to begin the blood essence condensation. No, it disappeared again. However, in the next moment, Bao Yuan's expression changed drastically, and Yixian's cry of alarm subconsciously came out. The boundless qi and blood that he had just sent into his body had mysteriously disappeared.